In the words of Tom Cruise from A Few Good Men, and the hits just keep on coming.
West Cork Beard Company make beard oil and beard balm for a strong, healthy, great-looking beard. Handmade from all natural ingredients in Clonakilty, West Cork. Check out their YouTube channel for beard care tips and advice, or catch them online at westcorkbeardcompany.ie.
So, how's it, everyone? Welcome to episode 13 of Same Old Arsenal USA. This is, I guess, bottom line, it's going to be a bit therapeutic, boys. I don't know about you guys. I don't really know what else to say at this point. Ryan, you and I disagreed at the very beginning of the season. I genuinely thought that we were going to be better than this. I really thought we had an opportunity thought we had the team that would compete for top four, and it's just not there. That being said, I mean, we are only, let's keep it in perspective. We're only 5 points off top four.
Sorry.
I mean, that's fine. Listen.
The glass is half full.
Yeah, well, at this point, you have to laugh to keep from crying. Am I right? I mean, seriously, you have to laugh to keep from crying. So, let's get a few things, I guess, maybe out of the way with here right off the bat. So, this is what this football club has done to me. I don't usually do this while I'm on the air, but beer of choice tonight.
Welcome to the club.
First beer of choice tonight is Anderson Valley Winter Solstice. A little bit about me. This is my favorite time of year for beer. I absolutely love most Christmas beers. Anderson Valley Winter Solstice is one of my favorites. I don't know if you fellas have a beverage in front of you or not, but cheers, boys. If you want to tell everybody what you're drinking, go for it. I'm going to start.
So, my beer of the week. I've been seeing such horrible takes, and people are just throwing silly putty at the wall, hoping it'll just stay up there and stick. Or not? Is it silly putty or I don't know? Whatever. My beer choice is Thank You Next. It's the Hanging Hills Brewing Company in Brantford, Connecticut. So shout out to them. But yeah, Thank You Next. Got a little kissy. I always hold this up wrong, but it's got lips too. It's like provocative. I don't know. But yeah, cheers.
You're provocative.
Damn right I am.
I don't know what that means. Stan, anything?
I'm on the old Red Truck IPA in my Arsenal glass, but you know what? I part of me thinking I shouldn't be using this glass tonight. I don't deserve it. Should have put it in a coffee cup or something.
As I sit here and rock my new track jacket here that I actually absolutely love, man. This thing is great. I love it. But yeah, probably shouldn't have worn it. They don't really deserve it. Welcome, Rohan. There he is.
Hey guys, what's up?
Evening, Ryan.
What's happening?
Mike from
I have water, H2O.
H2O IPA.
H2O IPA. Exactly.
Important to be hydrated.
Yeah, I'm staying hydrated too. So.
It's funny you bring up wearing Arsenal stuff. So over the weekend, I'm in a couple of fantasy American football leagues, and I have the Saints defense. And I don't know if anyone's familiar with American football in the chat, but the whole entire the team that they were playing, Denver Broncos, all of their quarterbacks were like high risk for COVID, so they had to start a wide receiver from the practice squad who played quarterback for 1 year in college. Needless to say, it didn't work out. So I was talking a lot of smack, saying how, if the Saints defense don't put up X amount of points, I'm gonna do a lap around town naked. And then I said, you know what? I'm gonna do you one better. I'm gonna do a lap around naked except for an Arsenal shirt. And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, it's more embarrassing that I'm wearing an Arsenal top at this point than just being flat out naked. And he laughed, and and my friend who's an Everton fan laughed and said, yeah, you're not wrong. So yeah, that's where I am right now.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen when Everton are making fun of us at this point. So I am just scrolling through the comments here. I want to give a shout out to Gary, DWTT, don't waste a tweet, for moderating for us tonight. Always appreciated, Lawrence, a lot of regulars, Abdel Nasir, Insurance Basket, that's one of Stan's favorites. Big Steve in the house tonight.
Big Steve!
I
promise I won't leave the show tonight. I won't leave you hanging, Steve.
Somebody put out a tweet. I don't know. It might have been an hour ago, but it basically said a podcast run by Americans. The chat box is run by Aussies. So I think we have a lot of Australian. So what time is it over there? It's
Flo Zanelli's from Australia.
It's probably
nice.
two.
No, so it's 9:53 p.m. on the East Coast in America. So it's
2 p.m. I think it's or 1. No, 2. It's about to be 2 p.m.
They're 14 hours ahead. So it's about to be noon.
I add 4 hours to us, and then I just flip it. So 4 hours.
Add 2 hours. No, add 2 hours.
4. You know what? Yeah. This isn't weird. I promise. I podcast with a bunch of Australians, but I have Australia time in my phone. So I'll just check right now. It is what? Yeah, I was right. It's 150. It is 153 in Melbourne. Oh man, this graphic is terrible. Man.
Wow, I was way off. I don't know how I screwed that up, but Top Gun, big hello from Southeast London. Thanks for being here, brother. Big Steve.
That's my neck of the woods, Peckham.
Yeah. Let me see. I don't want to miss. Kevin Mark.
Cockfosters is in there as well. Lawrence from Cockfoster.
Corey Best, United fan, but says he loves what we're doing. Appreciate that, Corey. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. It's always nice to get fans of other clubs involved. I think that means we're doing something.
Not every club, but yeah.
You know. But anyway, so anybody surprised? Anybody really surprised at the result over the weekend? I wasn't ever really. I don't know that I ever really thought we were going to level this thing. When we leveled it the first time, I was like, yeah, okay. And I thought maybe we could go on. We could get another one. But in the second half, it was like, yeah, we're not tying this thing. I don't care how much pressure or how much possession we had. We just weren't going to tie it. So I don't know. You guys go ahead and just give me your overall thoughts here. Just let it all out. Just, lay on the couch, close your eyes, and let it all out.
I'm not gonna go too crazy. Actually, I probably will throughout the podcast. The more I drink and the more we get into this, because I know for a fact I'm going to disagree with a couple of you guys on a couple of things. But as far as the game's concerned, I was the last one to watch it out of all of us in here, and every group I was in actually watched it today. And based on, and I knew what happened already because I can't stay spoiler free. I can't help myself, but I knew it was bad. And I watched it, and I honestly, I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. I didn't think we played that bad as far as to what everyone's saying. We didn't play well. We played pretty horrible, but we've been playing pretty horrible. We've been playing awful. So watching this game, I thought we had a few chances and we were kind of doing things. I don't want to say we were creating, but we were having more opportunities than normal, like for Leeds and Villa and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I know I hate wearing the shirt, but I think I'm gonna wear this shirt. It's like my podcast shirt. It says "Keep calm and let it go," Frozen style. But I'm probably wear a shirt every podcast because you guys all need to just keep calm and let it go. Like, we're not good. Like, losing this game and the last few games, we're not a good team. We finished 8th last season. We made a couple, one signing, 2 signings. We're not a good team. So I'm composed now, and I'm sure I'm gonna completely contradict myself and go crazy. But right now, this is par for the course. We're bad. It is what it is. But there was bright spots, I guess. But I'm a little concerned about our tactics going forward, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Yeah. Stan?
So, basically, right, to all of those that have been supporting Arsenal since probably 1996, I want to say welcome to the real world of football. This is the reality of football, of what you're seeing right now. You should now realise how special the Invincible season was. And not only that, you should also realise how it's really difficult and how rare it is to find a world-class manager, right? And if I'm looking at Arsene Wenger, I'm talking about obviously the first 10 years of his tenure. But you only have to look at Manchester United and the decline of Manchester United since the Ferguson era, you know, and they have thrown a lot of money at their problems. But it's been one manager after another. And you can't deny that at one point, Man United was a great club. But you also have to remember, right, that going back to Arsene Wenger, when he came to us, he'd already managed at Strasbourg, Cannes, Nancy, Monaco, and then Grampus 8. We currently have a manager who's never done that. We've basically got a manager now who is where Arsene Wenger was when he was managing at Strasbourg. But that is what we've apparently signed up for. That's what the club has agreed to. So if you are one of those people that wanted Arteta to come in, I don't see how you can be complaining of what is happening right now. Because to use another analogy, right, and it's something that I heard someone say somewhere else. Imagine if the captain turned up for the launch of the QE2 on its maiden journey, the huge liner, only for him to say, well, I've actually never sailed a ship before, but we'll see how we get on. There's going to be problems. Do you know what I mean? There's going to be problems. So if you did sign up for this, you're just going to have to bite the bullet, I'm afraid, and suck it up. And I signed up for this. I was kind of 50-50 on Arteta. He was not my first choice. But when he was announced, I wasn't frothing at the mouth, you know. I thought, okay, I'll back him. So this is what it is. It is what it is. I don't know what anyone else can expect when you've got a novice manager in charge of one of the biggest football clubs in the world as his first like outing. It's just the way it is.
Rowan, go ahead.
Well, that was a great analogy, and you know, probably that's the reason why none of us still, I mean, since last week till today, I haven't heard any of us being Arteta out. So, you know, that's the reason why. If this was an experienced manager who sort of, you know, if we knew what we were getting into, probably there would have been more critiques at this moment. But that doesn't mean that we can't be critical of him. You know, it's been a while now. He has managed some games, and it's not what he's doing, but what he's not doing. That's the problem. In this game, bringing on Lacazette too late, sending on virtually the same 11 that we had last time, and we lost last time. You know, why should we have anything different? Willian, I think, actually played well, and he pulled him off. Lacazette came on way too late. You know, tactically, twice in a row, our midfield, or actually, should I say, it's 3 times in a row, because Villa did our midfield, Leeds did our midfield, and now Wolves did our midfield. They were all over us, you know. And one issue is the personnel that he has. You know, it's unfortunate that that Partey has gone out injured and all of that. But you know, I'm gonna bring it up now. Like, you know, this is the point where maybe Arteta, or maybe they should have sort of come out and said that why our number 10 is not in the squad, you know. And you know, I don't want to get into it too much because he's not in the squad now, so you can't pick him, so there's no point in talking about him. But does this mean that we could include him for, if he doesn't go in January, in the refreshed squad? is that possible? And should we do that? Because right now we're just lacking ideas. One more thing that I wanted to add to Stan was that, I mean, I've followed since after 1996, so I have only seen Wenger. And one more thing which is very difficult to do, which I had seen in the last 2 seasons, is to play good, attractive football. It's not that simple. It's not, you can't just send guys out there and expect them to play just because you have quality players who can maybe control the ball or pass the ball a certain distance. It's a whole philosophy. And that's what we saw. And we just became too arrogant for that. And we were like, no, that's not enough. And probably that wasn't enough because we needed to go to the next level. And we have to take a dip now, of course, because our manager for 22 years is gone, and that is a seismic shift. That being said, I will be critical of what Arteta has done because over the weeks he's shown not enough tactical nous for my liking. He's shown favoritism. He's shown backing of the club. She agrees, yeah,
or disagrees. We don't know.
He shown backing of the board when when he should come out and say what is the reason why a creative player that we desperately need is not in the squad. Things like that, and that are the answers. That's the sort of answers that I'm looking for, and. This is his first real slump, so we don't know whether he can get out of it or not. But all of us here, we trust in Arteta still that he can turn it around. He needs to play to our strengths and get his mojo back. Once we start doing well, then maybe things will fall into place. Right now, nothing's going for us.
So I want to shout out real quick. Sorry to Insurance Basket with comments about Willian. I think that perfect. It's like a couple, yeah. I think that perfectly describes our club and our fan base to a T. I mean, obviously he's talking about Willian, but I think we could talk about that as far as just how fans are. People last season, well, Xhaka got so much better since Arteta came to the club. Mustafi's not that bad. Some of these fans, yeah, and I may be calling you guys out, and sorry, not sorry, but this isn't good. We're not good. You're going to accept mediocrity. You're going to accept Mustafi's gotten better since Arteta's came in. Xhaka yells a lot. And he's a leader. he can pass the ball kind of long, and he's getting better under Arteta. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. And the Willian signing, that's where I'm gonna take a back seat because I defended the Willian signing at first. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe it's not bad. It didn't excite me, but I didn't think it was a bad signing. On a free, it was one of Chelsea's best players. Could help some creativity. Could maybe show the younger wingers on our team, what to do. Kind of be like, that voice. Help Pepe out, even maybe drive Pepe's competition up a little bit. But he's been a dud. So, I think us as fans just need a better mentality as well as the players do. Our bar is just way too low.
Stan, go ahead. Take Lawrence's question.
Yeah,
I do not.
I do remember that. I think it was either was it Terry Neal or John Howe was the manager. I think it was one of those two. I was very young at the time. I just got into into supporting Arsenal then. I was very, very young. But just going back to something that Ryan said, it was what Rohan said, and it doesn't all be a good coach doesn't always translate into a good manager. Pep has been sat next to Pep Guardiola for a few seasons. He's been plying his trade as a coach. We've got a lot of people from Man City saying that he improved them, but his man management skills seem to be a little bit off. And it happens sometimes. I can think of a couple of managers. Steve McLaren was really respected when he was the number 2 there at Man United. But he never really set the world alight in his own as a manager for himself. Glenn Roeder, who was West Ham and Newcastle manager, he was really lauded as a coach. You know, Paul Gascoigne said he was one of the best coaches that he ever worked with. But as a manager, he just didn't have the man management skills to handle people on a daily basis. And I think Mikel Arteta is kind of, that's what I'm seeing from him. His man management, his handling, you know, it's just off for me. Do you know what I mean? It just looks it looks a little bit muddled in a way that he's handling people. I'm having a difference in telling the team apart when I watch them play now than when I watched them play under Unai Emery. It's at that stage where I cannot. Some of the personnel are different. In fact, a lot of the personnel are different, but the style of play, it's kind of looking the same.
Is it
30 me? Yeah, before my time, then, mate. Before my time. Sorry, that's a bit before my time. I started supporting when Terry Neill was the manager.
Is it possible that I want to come back to the Arteta favoritism thing here in a little bit, but is it possible that based on what you just said, Stan, we see a lot or we're seeing a lot of what we saw under Unai Emery now under Mikel Arteta. So let's run through real quick. Granit Xhaka, Aubameyang, Lacazette, I guess David Luiz for a brief spell at the beginning of his Arsenal career here. He was under Unai Emery. I guess my point is there a mentality in the locker room that they're just not going to, are we trying to teach old dogs new tricks and these old dogs they're not going to learn any tricks, let alone new ones? Is that where we are at this point? Because I put up a poll that asked if it was mentality or talent, mentality or talent. And the overwhelming majority said that it's mentality. So I think there are just some players here that are just rotten to the core mentally.
Then it can only be a few of them, because we have had, I think, quite a refresh in a lot of faces that are in and around the team. We've got a lot of youth now that are training a lot, even the ones that we don't see
not playing.
Selected. Yeah, there's ones even that don't get selected that are still training with them. So if you've got some rotten players, it's a very small few, right? I think, but they're a small few.
But they're big. But they're big personalities.
Yeah.
Look at Aubameyang and his. I mean, I take him outside the stadium in the flashy clothes and the fancy cars, and then you have Granit Xhaka, who's the raw, former captain, ripped off the armband, ripped off the shirt. We all know that. We're not going to rehash it. But then there's David Luiz, who is a loud voice in the locker room himself. He's worn the captain's armband before. And we don't need to go down the road of this individual player, but even Mesut Ozil being there and the larger than life aura that he brings they may be few, but the few are louder at this point. I guess what I'm getting at is, are the few louder than the many in terms of the Arsenal dressing room? To anybody.
Well, if anyone wants, this is so many Arsenal podcasts, but so the same old Arsenal does a preview show on Fridays with Dan Potts, Manny Riz, my brother Manny Riz, and Dan Potts is a Arse Bro too, and then they had Kenny Ken on Friday, and great show. You should all watch it. Although one of the funny parts was them arguing over Harry Maguire, but anyways, I digress. So a big thing that Manny brought up was the cliques, and there's cliques in this dressing room that need to be dispersed, and I could not agree more. There are way too many cliques in this dressing room. And another shout out to Ray on Arsenal Fan Circle. Me and him were chatting a little bit after the game, and he brought up an interesting point to me. How our last, my timing is terrible, but our last win, I think, was what, Sheffield, early October. I could be wrong. I don't know. And then the Premier League and Europa League squads got announced a couple weeks after that. Coincidence? I think not. I think Ozil got omitted. I think, not saying he outright poisoned the dressing room, but I think he had a heavy hand in it. And the rest is history. The following weeks he kind of showed his true colors. And I think that there are people in cliques. I don't want to single people out, but I really do think Ozil's at the head of this. I think there's maybe like an Ozil, Aubameyang, Lacazette contingency. I think the veterans are kind of grouping up a little bit. And I mean, you can't really argue it because it kind of shows, our younger players are playing in the Europa League. And I'm not saying we're lighting the world on fire, but we're playing a lot better. We're playing football that we want to see as Arsenal fans. And these are players that can't even get minutes in the Premier League. And when someone like a Joe Willock kind of, gets a few minutes, everyone's like, oh, he's so bad. He's not doing this right. He's not doing that right. Well, if you look at the pieces around him, he's doing. I think it was the Leeds game. He didn't have a good game. I'm not saying he did, but he was running. He was trying to make opportunities happen. He was trying to make things happen. But the players around him just didn't want to do it. Didn't want to do the work. They didn't want to run. They didn't want to show for the ball. And again, against Wolves, first half, I'll be honest, I didn't even know he was on the field. I barely saw him. But the second half, I thought Willock was probably our best player. The things he did with the ball, he dribbled through a few players. He actually won the most duels in that game with 11. And nobody on the Arsenal team even came close. So I think, and this is kind of where my issue with Arteta kind of stems. Because, again, going back to where we had the debate, is it Arteta or the players? Every week since that polls came out, I keep flip-flopping. I say Arteta, then I say the players. This week, I'm going to put it – I think it's both. But I'm going to go back and I'm going to say at the end of the day, it's Arteta. Arteta needs to grow a pair of balls, and he needs to play the kids. He needs to sit players that don't want to work. I
want to come back to that point, but I want to give Rohan a chance to jump in here and have your say. Keep that in your back pocket, because I definitely want to come back to that point.
So I think that his favoritism has with players continuously playing, but he's also tied up with the players that we have, right? The midfield is the midfield. There's probably just one spot that he can change. There is no other option than playing Xhaka. Right now you can't play anyone else apart from Xhaka and Ceballos because El Neni just came back from COVID. Partey is injured. So who else are you going to play? And then the third spot, he's tried with Willock, which didn't work out against Leeds. In the second half, I agree he was good, but I agree with Ryan to say that the blame lies with him, because we did play, and I did want to go back to what he said in his opening comments, were that we did play that bad, right? Like he said that. I wouldn't say that. We played quite badly. But when the game was going on, the manner in which we were playing in the second half, I was a bit more enthused. I was waiting, and the whole time I was thinking that, Man United were 2-0 down in the first half earlier today, and they got their equalizer in the 74th minute, and they scored a winner in 90+3. So we could get something out of this. And we were creating chances. As soon as we came out of the tunnel for the second half, Saka had a great chance. And that should have gone in. These are 2 games in a row that Saka has missed, in front of goal. And he's a young guy. I'm not going to hound him out, but I expect better from him. He's got that scoring touch. He's shown that earlier. So one-on-one versus the keeper, I feel like he should have rounded the keeper off and finished it. This one was a simple opportunity, like 5 yards away from goal, and he completely missed it, and that could have been a big change. The fact that we got a goal 3 minutes after them scoring was in itself should have been a boost. And I was one of those guys who answered mentality on your poll, and that's because whatever team Arsenal puts out in that shirt should be good enough to beat a newcomer Leeds, should be good enough to beat Aston Villa, should be good enough to beat Wolves. I don't care. Like, where we are at, there's a reality, and all of these teams are ahead of us. But in terms of quality player for player, we've got so many internationals in our team, and those guys need to do better, right? So it is mentality, and it is for Arteta to get the right mentality. Then if it is Ozil who's caused this disruption, they should have known that. Then don't put him out of the squad if you can't sell him. You're paying him I really feel like we have, we've cut our nose to spite our face. At this moment in time, could we be any worse with Ozil and the team? Creativity is the problem. Every day why would we have lost more games?
He's a poison in our club.
Would we have got
poison.
Less than 0 points in our previous game?
Don't care. He's a poison to our club.
Would we have got less than any more than 0 points in the 5 games that we've
lost?
Could have conceded more.
He doesn't play defense.
How does it matter? How does it matter?
It matters. It matters because he's a poison in our club and he needs to go. Once he leaves,
he hasn't gone.
Well, that is why let him rot. He showed his true colors by tweeting live tweeting our games.
That is the reason why the debate continues, because he is in the team.
For me,
he's in the squad.
And if you put him in the team, then we're playing 10v11.
Yeah,
as simple as that. We're a man down with him in the team. We've got 10 men then.
I would be happy if we were winning or we were putting up a fight. We've lost 5 games. We've lost more games than we've won. I don't think we would have done any worse with him in the squad. Maybe we would have conceded a couple of more goals, but I think that we could have had a chance to score a couple of more goals as well. And if not, at least this debate would have been settled, right? We've shot ourselves in the foot. We have. Why are we paying him that sum of money when we can't even utilize it?
You do realize this was a big argument when Emery was our manager. Everyone's like, "Oh, bring Ozil back, bring Ozil back." Emery throws him out. What'd he do? He brought Ozil back. He lost the dressing room, and that was it. Emery just sealed his fate when he brought Ozil back. That was the last straw. And then we didn't improve. We got worse.
Let me jump in here real quick because I want to recognize Flo Zanelli and thank you very much, my friend,
Flo.
for the kind donation. These old dogs won Arteta 2 trophies that fans keep on bringing up to back Arteta. So you can't blame players when Arsenal lose and praise Arteta. When Arsenal wins, it goes both ways. Arteta is done. Flo Zanelli, do me one favor. Add a little punctuation to that for me next time. Jesus, I'm out of breath reading all that.
I actually love that comment until he said Arteta is done. I agree with everything. Like I agree with every single word except for the Arteta is done part.
Here's all right. I'm gonna say this, Stan. I'm gonna give you a say on it. And then we're gonna move off because we could do this all night with Mesut Ozil.
Let's go. I brought up 1 2 years. I'm ready to go. No, I'm kidding. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I want him.
Well, This is where I think this is where Rowan and I agree. The thing is that, okay, again, two things can be true at the same time. Mesut Ozil is I said this before, he's a warm body. And right now, you're paying him $350,000 a week to fuck off, right? Well, excuse the language, but that's what you're paying him to do.
We're actually not paying that much money.
$350,000 a week.
We pay him less because he doesn't make the squad. Because he's not in our squad, he gets less money.
All right,
he gets more money if he makes. He gets more money if he's in our lineup. That's fair. Yeah.
Okay. Did not know that. I thought it was the contract was a contract, whether you play or not.
Unless he's making £350 a week now from 350,000, then it is something substantial, and we should have used it.
The point is this: take the sport out of it. This is the way I look at it. Take the sport out of it and look at it from a purely business standpoint.
Yeah.
And I think you'll see it differently if you look at it that way. Is to say, I'm paying someone a sum of money to, I'm going to say this, and I know that Ryan and Stan are both going to yell at me, but you're paying someone a sum of money to do a job. You're both going to say, but he's not doing his job. Hang on. I understand he's not doing his job, and the sentiment behind that statement I would agree with, but you've now told him we're going to pay you to not do anything for us, to be of absolutely zero benefit to us. We can't even give you an opportunity now to be a benefit to us. So I think it's a bit of cutting off our nose to spite our face to not register him if you're going to pay him. My only thing is, if you're going to pay him, keep him in the squad. That's it. Keep him in the squad.
Nope, he's a poison. Why?
But he's there anyway.
Doesn't matter. I don't want him anywhere in the squad. He's
the hour that they spend in the dressing room,
and they probably thought
before the
they
game
would push him out, but they called
said,
Arsenal's bluff. I don't know what to tell you.
Stan, got announced. 1 second. The squad got announced on the 20th of October. The transfer deadline day was on the 5th of October.
Yes, Lloyd. We talk about Socrates.
The transfer deadline day was 5th of October. They knew for 2 weeks that he wasn't going anywhere because he wasn't going to the championship. We all knew that. If he wasn't going anywhere, you knew what sort of a figure he is within the team and the squad and what impact he could have had. If you really want to piss him off, then every game that you're winning, throw him on at 90 plus 2 minutes. Just throw him on then.
That's
because
you're just encouraging the fan base. Why? You're essentially tasering half the fan base and dangling like a $100 bill in front of everybody.
All
Say,
right.
what we're doing? He's coming on. He's playing.
Stan, do me a favor. What is a bacon sarnie? I know what bacon is. I know what a bar mitzvah is.
Right. It's a sandwich. Sarnie is a sandwich.
Okay. Thank you. That was my question, because I've seen, Lawrence, you put this comment up before. So,
the only reason I'm on the show is to translate these things.
That's not true. We like your Spider-Man logo too. What's that noise?
I would say it's my fire alarm, but it's not. Megan is not cooking dinner, so I'm good. It's not me.
Okay, so she's just burning the house down for shits and giggles.
Oh, it's not me. There's no fire. Okay.
Anyway, now seriously, we could do the
last thing that I want to say on this is that like Robert Kennedy had said, don't get mad, get even, right?
That's what
don't get mad. Don't get mad, get even. You could have thrown him out at this point. There wouldn't be this conversation. We lack creativity. We don't have midfielders right now. I mean, it's a moot point now because we can't play him until then.
Right.
But it's raised questions about it, and the board has thrown Arteta under the bus by doing that, by not being able to sell him but keeping him out.
So I really hope this doesn't turn into a thing. Not gonna lie, but Shrey Dimry,
cool.
I mean, it's your opinion. And you know what?
Do what you want. Yeah, that's cool.
You know what? Lee and Craig said it best on yesterday's show from across the pond. This is what we do as supporters. We have opinions and we banter. And thank you, by the way, Shrey, for the very kind donation. Really appreciate that. But you know what? Opinions. You're allowed to have them. They're not wrong. They're opinions. I don't agree with that personally. Right. I don't agree with it, but you're allowed to have an opinion. Stan, do you want to say anything, any last words on the Mesut Ozil thing before we move on?
Really? I think I've said everyone.
Everybody. Yeah, we all. Yeah.
I just want to respond to a comment and then I'm done. One Eve says he's a poison because he's being trained by the club. Why are we allowing him to train? It's in his contract. He has to train with us. There's nothing we could do about it. He has to come to training. If he doesn't, he's in breach of his contract, and then we could maybe Ryan could tell you more, but he has to come. That's the one thing in his contract he has to do is come to training. So
they're not paying him. They didn't buy him out. They didn't buy out his contract and say we're paying your contract up front. Go away. It's there as pay him weekly or whatever it is. There are certain,
and it is with the first team. He said now with the first. It is with the first team. We can't just have him train with the U23s. He has a contract, and as a club, they have to honor it. There's nothing they can do.
I would like to say that this isn't. If this was the first time that he'd been left out of the squad by a manager, I could understand what half of the fan base are saying about we could still use him. But, you know, he's been left out by every manager now since Arsene Wenger. For one reason or another, he's been brought back by the next manager and he's repaid that manager in exactly the same way. So how many times, you know, it's like if you're going out with some bird, right, and keeps cheating on you and you keep forgiving her, how long do you go on? What, do you find her in bed with your brother or your dad? I mean, there's a point where you draw a line in the sand, right? I just think that I think it's quite simple. Me personally, as a supporter, I just don't fancy Mesut Ozil anymore. I don't think he really adds anything to the team. Just like you didn't agree with the young man who put the Shrey Dimmery's comment, a lot of people don't agree with mine. But I also think that it's just a simple fact that for whatever reason, the manager currently doesn't fancy Mesut Ozil either.
So here's the point. You know, I would 100% back Arteta, and I mean, I would agree with you, Stan, if this was indeed for footballing reasons. But he played every game for Arteta till before lockdown.
And was he any good?
During the lockdown,
was he any good? Did he pull up trees? Was he a world beater?
No. He was playing. He was playing. The dramatic shift. There's circumstantial evidence to say that the dramatic shift in stance, that not playing even one game after that, not even in the Europa League or whatever, was because he had a disagreement on taking a wage cut.
Oh my God!
And that shouldn't have been on Arteta in the first place. So if Arteta had an issue, and if he would have dropped him before, but he played every game till before that.
But now we're just assuming. The fact is, he was not playing well. He was not playing well. You could say it was because of pay cuts. You could say because of China. You could say because of whatever he says. Fine. You want that? Not you, but I'm saying the fans. You guys want to have the argument? Cool, awesome, good for you. He played for Arteta. Yeah, you're right. In dramatic shift, I get that. Cool, but he wasn't good. So I don't really care why he didn't play. He wasn't good. I don't miss him.
And if you want to talk about China, he played for Arsenal a dozen times after that China incident. So if that was people want to say
whatever,
China, he played 12 times. 12 times.
No, it was the wage cut. It was the wage cut. I mean, he didn't set the world alight, but he wasn't. I don't think I remember him being the worst player in that time with Arteta. In fact, that was the time when Arteta was imposing his own philosophy, right? And I agree. Like we can move on because he can't play right now. So that's the thing. But this whole topic, it's actually not about, and what I started this off with, it's not about Mesut Ozil. It is about the club. And the club doing something that is against the interest. And Mesut Ozil is just an example of what the club is doing and how the club is running things that is wrong.
That I would agree with 100% because there's just something at this club that, boy, oh boy, it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, the way that things are being run, you know, the fact that we waited until the last minute to go and get Thomas Partey to pay his release clause, and there's just this is a conversation for perhaps for the next international break to just start going through like a lot of the behind the scenes things that are going on.
Shout out to Dave in the chat. He said it. Once Ozil goes, we're going to be better. He's going to put money on it. I want to hit me up on Twitter or something. We're going to make some kind of bet because I agree with you 100%. Well, you put some money.
He agrees with you. So how are you betting?
No, not bet against him. We're gonna like pool our money together and make a big bet.
Oh, that's good.
Vegas or something.
Actually, I might want to get in. I might want to get in on this action
because we will be better. That's what
I'm not. I mean, but you have to have a way to gauge being better. You know.
I don't know.
So from this, everything is better right now.
Well, yeah. So all right. I want to circle back around to something that Ryan said because it's in my head, and if I don't circle back around to it now, I'm going to forget. So again, I put out some polls yesterday, basically kind of, are you ready to see a youth movement? And I mean a true, honest to God, bona fide youth movement at this club where you say, okay, so let me go off on a bit of a rant here for a minute. Not a rant, but just a little monologue, if you will. Being an American, I've grown up watching American sports. And in American sports, what we have in every sport is, well, in American football and basketball, we have collegiate drafts. So if you're bad, you draft at the top of the league, at the top of the draft. So you have chubby for the kid.
It's from an old podcast. Steve loves the kids. He loves to play. He loves to. We had a podcast with Arse Bros, and Max said he likes to play with kids, but he meant to say Steve likes us to play the kids because Steve is big with the kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so anyway. This is the equivalent, in my opinion, to, or it's just, I'll say it's as close, I think, as the club can get to a draft, which is basically, okay, you're not good enough, so it can't be any worse. So we're gonna try something drastically different. Sit Aubameyang on Sunday. Put Balogun in. I think, Stan, you and I agree with Eddie and Kedia. I know he's above Balogun in the pecking order, but I just don't think Eddie is. I don't think he's a bona fide Premier League starting striker. So give Balogun a chance against the scum on Sunday and be like, go out there, hopefully do a job. Just play well. I'm not saying he's got to score. I'm not saying he's got to set the world on fire. But after that, then be like, and here's your contract. Put Reece Nelson out on the right. Put Saka on the left. Put Willock, Emil Smith-Rowe, and El Neni in the midfield. And unfortunately, we don't really have any youngsters to put on the back line, so we're kind of stuck. Well, I mean, we have Kieran Tierney and Gabriel on the left side of the back four. I don't hate Rob Holding. I know Rob Holding, a lot of people don't think Rob Holding's good enough. I don't personally think Rob Holding's good enough. I also don't think he should be run out of town with torches and pitchforks. And the guy that played more in the midfield than he did at right back on Sunday, who said that?
What?
Oh,
what?
I did. Hector Bellerin.
Oh.
Look at his heat map. That dude was a midfielder on Sunday. I'm not saying that's where he was supposed to be, but that dude was a midfielder on Sunday if you look at his heat map. Anyway, major shakeup. Major shakeup. Start the kids. Because here's the thing. I understand that goal differential can come into play, and that's something that I pay a lot of attention to. I don't know about anybody else. I pay a lot of attention to the goal differential. I just think that the veterans need to see the kids go out there, and they're not kids anymore, need to see these younger players go out there and put in an effort and say, you know what, maybe I'm not as talented as you, but I'm going to go back to something you guys have heard me say it a million times on here. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And it's funny because now I think we're dealing with this within the club. So I want your guys' take on starting the kids on a legitimate major shakeup.
See, it's tough because I completely 120,000% agree with you. But the problem is we're playing the Spurs. We're playing Spurs. We're playing the scum. So hang on.
Let me interrupt you. In my opinion, it's all the more reason for some of these guys to start. Here's why: because Aubameyang didn't come up through this system.
Yeah.
Pepe can't play anyway, but he didn't come up through this system. Willian might be the only guy because he's been in this league and in London for so long that maybe he kind of gets it. But these younger players, man, like they came up from the Hale end. They know what this means. They don't like them any more than we do. At the very least, you know they're going to go in. They're going to put in an effort. They might get. Listen, not saying that they won't get run out of the building. It might be the difference between 5-0 and 3-0.
So I have a question. I'm probably completely wrong, but maybe someone could steer me in the right direction. I definitely read somewhere that Willock grew up a Tottenham fan, or his brother did, or no. Or am I making that up? I could have swore I read that a couple of years ago. Anyways, doesn't matter. So again, shout out to the the Same Old Arsenal podcast on Fridays. They did the preview, and Kenny Ken said what you said about Balogun. He thinks Balogun needs to play because everyone's like riding our hopes on Balogun, and me included. I'm like, oh, Balogun needs to start in Europa. Balogun this, Balogun that. We need to re-sign Balogun. We don't know what he could do. We're just guessing because we don't think Eddie's good enough. We don't think Lacazette's good enough. So if that's the case, put him in. Let's get Balogun some minutes. I know it's a huge jump, and I know people are going to be like, no, we can't do that. Celebration. But we need to see what this guy's made of. I agree. Laka is not good enough. Eddie, not good enough. We need to give Balogun minutes if we want him to stay with this club, or else we're going to be paying out the butt for another striker because Lacazette and Eddie are not going to be our long-term fix. They're just not. So I don't really, like I said, I completely agree with you. It's a bold move, benching Aubameyang. I hope Rohan's not too upset, but I agree. I don't think Aubameyang should play. He was the worst player. He was the worst player against Wolves. He looked lazy, disinterested. He didn't want to be there. You could clearly see in what he was doing. He would throw his foot out for the ball. He just looked like he didn't want to be there. Cool. Okay. No, nothing. No. We made a mistake. We shouldn't have re-signed him. I think for me, that was kind of like the biggest turning point. I think we took a risk, I think on Friday they said that. I think other podcasts have said this. He has credits in the bank. We need to re-sign Aubameyang. He has credits in the bank. He won us an FA Cup. He did this. He did that. And fair play. He did some pretty amazing things to get us to that Cup final and win the FA Cup final. But what's he do? What have you done for me now? And another podcast, the Arsenal Vision podcast, brought up a very good point. When you give players contract extensions, you want to pay them for what they're gonna do. You don't want to pay them for what they already did.
I mean that's that again, and that's a whole discussion.
No, I know,
for a whole other show.
That's our biggest problem.
Well, that's also a problem in every sport, though.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a solely Arsenal problem.
But no. I'm talking about strictly English Premier League. That is our biggest problem. I think other clubs do a better job of addressing that than we do. We constantly play players for what they've done, not for what they can do for us.
Yeah.
Ryan, hindsight is 2020.
No, I know.
He started off the season with a banger against Liverpool, winning us the Community Shield. Yeah, he has been out of form for the first time since he's joined Arsenal. So in the last 2.5 years, this is the first bad patch that he's had, and we're hounding him out like nobody's business. I agree with you that there was an effort, and that is inexcusable. But he is the quality that we need in this team, and we have to stand by him. He is disinterested, and there's no justifying that. But if I were to sort of think from his mindset, he feels like he signed a contract. He may feel like he signed a new contract. He's given his last chance to win big things. Money is not an object really at this moment because they've made enough money, and he would have got enough money outside as well. Not 350, but maybe something that he wouldn't have gone starving, right? So he would have made enough money, but he's stayed here. And this is a worse team than what it was last year. What are the promises? And we played him 2 games through the middle. This was the first game where there was some sort of service. There was no service before this. So, you have to think about what players are going to do. He's a bona fide world-class player. Could you really predict?
Not anymore.
Predict? You're basing your whole theory based on the last 5-7 games that he's played, 10 games in the Premier League that have gone by. You're basing that, and you're saying that you would have said the same thing 10 games ago or 5 games ago. I mean, I don't think that
with the effort he's putting in. Why I don't understand why you want to start him week in and week out, no matter what. With watching the laziness and effort.
Do me a favor.
Because
hang on. Time out. Let's come back to this.
All right, Dad. Sorry.
I want to bring Stan into my question, which was, we'll come back to Aubameyang. I want to bring Stan into my question. Major shakeup, big time change. Would you go youth on Sunday?
No.
Go for it.
No, because they're just not good enough. Basically,
But,
there's only a couple of them that are good enough. You know, Saka's good enough. I think Martinelli's good enough, but he's probably not going to be ready yet. Balogun, I've not seen enough of them, to be honest. I don't watch under 23, so I can't. Nice goal the other day, but other than that, the rest of them, I just don't think.
So you'd rather play Eddie and Laka, who we know are shit?
Pardon?
So you'd rather play Eddie and Laka?
Well, I just look at it this way, right? You put a team out full of kids and they get humped 4-0. What you've gone and done now is you've not ruined one team, you've ruined two teams. You've ruined the other. You've ruined.
That's actually
a really good point. I don't think the first team's any better.
You know what? You know what? This is Stan's show now. You know what?
That is a good point.
Stan, you get to come up here. I'm going down there.
oh wait.
Boom.
But it's true, right? Because now you got a team that we are playing so good in the Europa League. You bung them into the league and they get humped, especially in that particular fixture against the Spuds. That could really do more harm than good. So I think it's a big risk, too big a roll of the dice. But also, what I said at the very beginning, I just don't think the majority are up to the job anyway.
I don't think they're up to. And here's the other thing. I agree with that. My thing is, and I didn't see you took a different perspective on this, and I hadn't thought about that. But that you haven't ruined one team, you've now ruined two. And that is bloody. That's the line of the show right there. That's the thought of the show. Because I'm sitting here thinking to myself, well, I think that it just based on what we've seen the last three matches in the league, I'll give you a prediction for Sunday right now. I think we're going to lose 3-0. That's my prediction.
Look at it this way, right? We go out with a full young team and they get humped. What are you going to do in the following fixture? Put the girls out. Where'd you go next?
Yeah, I agree with you, but I still I hate to say it. I trust our kids more than I do the first team right now.
Well, here's the thing though. I trust the kids to give the effort. I agree with Stan. I don't think they're good enough. Yeah. I'm not saying and here's the thing. I'm not putting the kids in. I'm not. This idea isn't in my head.
I wish we weren't playing Tottenham. To me, it would have been an easy decision. If we weren't Tottenham.
but see, that's the thing though. It's easy to go and say, okay, go out and play West Brom. Go out and play Fulham. What do we do? Oh my God! Well, to use Stan's word, we humped Fulham 3-0 with the group that keep going out there. And so if we put the kids out against a West Brom, a Sheffield United, who saw that demise coming so quickly? But it just, for me, it's not a matter of going out and winning a game as much as it is going out and putting in an effort to say to the veteran players in the team, your spot isn't guaranteed. And the fact that there is no bigger match of the year, except for the reverse, when we'll play later, than this match on Sunday, and you're not playing because you stink right now and your effort is zero. But I Stan, if they go out, see, I wasn't so worried about the scoreline. Because I think we're going to get throttled anyway.
Isn't the fact that Mikel has already frozen out a young player who's a prospect, i.e. Guendouzi, and he's also frozen out the club's most expensive paid player? Isn't that a warning enough to the rest of the squad about, you know?
But when you're Willian,
come up to the mark, because he's shown, hasn't he? He's demonstrated that he's not afraid to take drastic measures.
Yeah, but I think, and this will go back to the playing favorites conversation, because when you look at how poor Willian has been, when you look at how poor, no matter what the circumstances are behind it, when you look at how poor Aubameyang has been, when you look at how poor Lacazette has been, when you look at how poor the midfield as a whole beyond Thomas Partey has been, and there's Arteta saying, well, Guendouzi, I'm shipping you out of here because I don't like your attitude. I'm not going to play Emile Smith-Rowe I don't like the fact that you have three names. You know what I mean? So they're like, I want to say again, reiterate that the point on ruining two teams, very, very well said. I agree with that 100%. And I'm glad that you said that, because it put a much different spin on what I was thinking. So anybody, Rowan, on the kids, Ryan?
I completely agree with Stan, what he said. And I wouldn't I wouldn't play the kids, not completely, in this game. Also because this Arsenal team is notorious for dropping points where they shouldn't,
Yeah.
but turning up performances where we don't expect them to. Not saying that we're going to win, but we did it against Manchester United. We've done it in the FA Cup. We did it in the Community Shield. Against City, we didn't get thumped. So all in all, there is a possibility that we might turn up. Just look at the circumstance. Tottenham are on top of the league right now. They're on 21 points. We are on 13. If they win this game, they're going to be 11 points ahead of us. Season's over.
It's basically
that's
four whole matches. Yep.
That's four matches that they're ahead of us. We have to. This is not the time to make a statement. Again, this will be part number 2 of making a decision just to cutting your nose to spite your face sort of a situation. And I'm not saying that the seniors are going to go out there and blitz Tottenham, or they're going to even put in a performance. I don't trust them, and especially because of the midfield that we've got. The midfield is just insufficient, and we are going to lose. But we've got to remember that with some tactical nose, we could probably pull something out of the hat, because this is the game that Jose Mourinho is going to be smelling blood. He knows that Arsenal is at the lowest that we've ever been. He's been called a defensive manager. Every game that he's played against a top side, be it against Chelsea the previous week that he played, or against City when they played and they won 2-0, every game that they have played, they've sat back. But this is a game that I feel like he might come out and he might attack us. And this gives us the opportunity to exploit it, but we have to be smart about it.
Before I got all set up here and we were all, backstage getting our makeup done, I had the thought that this is, if you support that team, this is like this. I don't even know what to call it. This is your moment. This is your one shining moment, because you have your arch rival who at every turn, anytime you get high, anytime you're up here, here's your arch rival. All of us Arsenal fans are right there to knock you down a few pegs. There's a Twitter account that counts the days since they won a trophy. That's what we think of that club. And if you're Jose Mourinho, you don't like Arsenal. He's never liked this club. He smells blood in the water. But the players, these players who you have to think that somewhere they hear this stuff. They hear the things.
They don't care. Arsenal, that's the point.
Hang. No. The I almost said it. I caught myself. I almost said it.
You said it like 5 minutes ago.
No, I didn't.
No, you did. I think you did.
No, I'm
like 85% sure you did. Maybe 80%.
I'm 85% sure you're a knucklehead.
All right, maybe 75%. I think you said it.
Anyway, they're smelling blood in the water. And this is like, you want to go out and you want to prove something. This is my mentality. If I'm on that side of the equation, I'm not stopping at 3. I want 4. And when I get 4, now I'm just going to drop the hammer on you. Now I want 5. I want to embarrass that club. If the shoe were on the other foot, I would want to be embarrassing that club. I know we don't get more points for bigger margins of victory, but I want to put that theory to the test. I want you to show me that prove to me I'm only going to get 3 points for beating you 3-0. Because I'm going to make it real hard for you to justify only giving me 3 points after what I do to this team. I think that's where they're at right now. And if they're not, then they should be. Mourinho had a great quote.
Oh, we gonna quote him?
But he's right. But he's right.
What?
Just went to Stamford Bridge and got a 0-0 draw.
You're not happy.
Against Chelsea, the third place team in the league, got a 0-0 draw against the third place team in the league at their building, and his players are not happy. Meanwhile, there's our guys who just lost 2-1 to Wolves. So we're going to go meet down at the Queen's Arms pub if you guys are interested in coming and having a pint and a smoke with us after. That's our mentality. That's their mentality. They're not happy. They're coming, boys. I'm telling you, they're coming. I don't like it, but they're coming. They're here. Gooner Kirk. I'm going to put it up. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be. It's probably going to be holding on Son. That's even scarier.
Either way,
yeah,
it's going to get ugly. So I guess while we're on this topic, I was going to go back to Aubameyang. We'll circle back around since I kind of went off here for a minute on this game. Let's preview the NLD. I already gave you my prediction on the score. I think it's going to be ugly. I don't think this is going to be close. I have zero confidence that this team is going to show up. I hope they do. Good God, I've never wanted to be more wrong in my life. But I just don't feel good about this at all, and it's going to be ugly. So, Stan, I'm going to give you the floor. Go ahead.
Well, we're talking about Tottenham, I take it. I mean, I usually am very confident when we go into into matches against the old enemy, no matter how we're playing.
I feel your pain, Stan. I feel your pain. Women burning dinner. It's a vicious cycle.
Whose smoke alarm is that?
Stan's.
Oh, that's your. I mean, I don't know. I hear it. I have no idea who's it is.
Stan, you got to manage the building.
Yeah, Stan.
Yeah,
It's on
not
fire.
doing your job, Stan.
So I only moved into this place like at the weekends.
That's right. You moved. We'll talk about that at the end.
But hold on, I think there's
BS. I like insurance basket. It's a BS detector. Yeah.
So yeah,
I like it.
Yes. Well,
But
the insurance basket, you're becoming a very integral part of this show with your comments, my friend.
But I have to say, this time around, I've got no confidence. I'm usually quite upbeat, no matter what. But I've never been this down and frightened about coming our next opponents. And I think that we're probably the team when other teams are looking at their fixture list of games that are coming up, and they see Arsenal are their next fixture. They probably rub their hands together because there isn't anybody in the team that they fear. We've got one kind of out-and-out goal person in Aubameyang who's not even doing that at the moment. So, they must be looking after. We need 3 points from somewhere. Where are we going to get them? Oh, we've got Arsenal coming up in a couple of weeks. We'll get 3 points there. That's where we are. I mean, the 3 games that we've played, including the one coming up with Tottenham, I was asked, how many points do you think that we'll get out of those 3 games? And I said 4 points. And even when I said 4 points, I was like, am I going too far here? But so far, we've got one more game to play and we've got 1 point. So where's the other 3 points coming from?
Right.
So, I mean, it's a sad indictment of where we are. And another thing that I wanted to raise is something that I tweeted out in the week. Why is it every time we turn around and reward a player with what they've done, and by giving them, by in most cases, securing their future financially with a bumper pay rise, so why is it every time we do that, that player just goes to shit? Every time. I could go back to Theo Walcott. It seems that
you want to pay a player for what they're going to do, not what they did.
But they always seem to, once they get that lovely big bumper pay rise, that's it. That's like, it's almost like, okay, right, I'm going to the retirement home now.
I mean, it's like also that's big in American sports. When players are like in their contract year, they may not say it. They also it might be true. They may not think they're playing a lot better, but subconsciously, they turn it up to a new level. And then when they get the contract,
absolutely,
they're like, all right,
that's you always
turn the BS detector on him right now.
Why?
That's what this deserves, because it's not that he played well in the last 6 months of his contract. He played well for the for 2.5 years before
And
that.
that's exactly what I said. Why is it when
I didn't say. I never said he did.
And I'll answer that. I will
Right?
answer that. I will answer that, Stan. If that was an actual question, then the answer is because of the system that we played, where he wasn't getting chances enough. He was playing out on the left, where he wasn't getting the chances. This was the first game that there were balls in the box. He's played 2 games in through the middle. Unless you want me to say that there's obviously a curse here at play, which doesn't allow our players to perform. But if I'm logically thinking about it, this dip in form is something that is absolutely normal. No, there's no player who's not had a dip in form.
I don't see
It's bad.
not a dip in form, Rohan. It's a
What do you mean this bad?
In attitude.
He's horrible.
I'm seeing.
And
His
he doesn't
body
even
language.
want to
When
play.
he came out of the tunnel for the beginning of that last game, he looked like he just found his wife in bed with the milkman. Before he even kicked the ball and stepped on a blade of grass. He's not got poor form. He's got a poor attitude right now. He has. I know he's a player that you like a lot. But you look at his form, right? He scored all of those goals for us out on the left in a formation that had him on the left and drifted in. His form stopped before we put him in the middle. We've gone and done everything that everyone was crying out for, right? Everybody said, well, we need to change it up. We need to start playing with 4 at the back. We need to have an extra body in the midfield to give us 3 in the midfield, and we need to put Aubameyang through the middle. We've done that, and I haven't seen any improvement.
Yeah, because there's no runners in midfield. What have we done by putting the numbers there? Have we made any difference? What do teams know? Why has he not performed?
There's been no runners, you say, right? That header in the last match was a joke, mate. That header that you went for was
interested.
But in order for him to make a header, he must have had service, right? Someone served him that header. And this
was the first game that he had. That I agreed, but don't forget that he missed.
He's playing football. Don't tell me that shifting from the left into the middle. He has to adapt. It's like he's not on the moon. He's still on the same.
Of course not. I'm not saying that. But this is the guy who missed that last minute chance against Olympiacos as well. So it's not like he's not missed a chance before this ever. But nobody was getting on his case. Everybody kept asking, where would we be if Aubameyang wasn't scoring these goals? This is where we would be if Aubameyang wasn't scoring his goals for the last 2 years. And I'm not saying that what he's. I am not at all going to justify his attitude for the last game. But the last game was the first time that there was service. And there is a reason why he wasn't able to perform from the left, because like you had said in a previous podcast that every team had found out that the way to stop Arsenal is to get another man on Aubameyang. When he cuts in from the left, there's got to be another man. It's very easy now to say that, you have to pay players for what they're going to do. I don't remember anybody saying 10 games ago that Aubameyang is not world class and wasn't going to be world class.
Well, I guarantee
nobody said that.
I guarantee that his attitude will more than likely be the same in the next game, and we'll be back here next Tuesday, and there'll be another reason of why he's not performing. And then we'll go to the next game, and it will be the same again, and we'll be back here on the following podcast, and there'll be another reason. So I don't understand why we want to give these players passes when they're not performing to the ability that we know that they can perform to, because we know what Aubameyang can do when he wants to. And right now, he doesn't look like a player that even wants to. And I don't know whether that's because he's lost faith in the leadership, i.e. the manager. I don't know whether he's part of a clique and there's negativity in the changing room, a little bit like what Ryan said. It sounds like our dressing room's like Hydra. You cut the head of the snake off, 2 more grow in its place. So I don't know what it is that's going on. And I'm not saying that Aubameyang is the only one, because right now he's probably at the same levels as where Lacazette is at the moment. Lacazette, he's never been a 20, 25 a goal man, but we've seen him perform and we've seen him apply himself and put in effort. And I'm not seeing that from most of the team. And it seemed like the only people that I do see it from are a couple in defence and El Neni when he's playing. The rest of them, I'm not seeing it, especially on a consistent basis.
And I think that's my biggest
Correct, and I
problem.
agree with that.
We talk about how Aubameyang's not, performing. Service, no service, doesn't matter. He's not performing. He's not putting the goals. He's not doing that. My biggest thing that pisses me off about him is just watching his mannerisms, watching his lack of effort on the field. It was just like it was almost as if like he was a varsity player playing in a JV squad. Just didn't care. Just whatever. And he had another chance. I want to say it was a soccer cross. Could have been a Tierney cross. I think it was a soccer cross. And the ball was coming to him, and it got deflected by a Wolves player. But it looked like he was letting it come to his chest, and he was just going to, like, tap it in. He didn't even make a swing for it. He didn't make, he knew the Wolves player was right in front of him. He didn't try to make a play on the ball. He just expected the ball to just come on his chest, just stop down, and just tuck it away. He just doesn't – it just looks like he doesn't have a hunger for goal, service or no service. And we saw it a couple times in this game. He got some service, and he just didn't seem like he cared if he scored or not. And what are you going to do?
What are we going to do? Then it's for the manager to turn it around. Because if he can't turn it around, you can't change 11 players or you can't change 25 players. You've got to look at the manager, and it's his job to motivate him. And if he can't motivate him, then that's the issue. If we say that Arteta is right to give to
so you'd rather sack Arteta than bench Aubameyang?
Bench
if you had to choose,
no.
If you had to choose, would you sack Arteta or bench Aubameyang?
If bringing, then you bench Aubameyang, of course.
Okay,
what are you talking about? No, but he needs to figure out what is the right modus operandi to get him back into form. Does that mean that he has to be? Does that mean that he has to be heavy-handed and he needs to bench him, or does that mean that he needs to have a talk with him, or does that mean that he needs to, encourage him and say that the team is going to be turned around and there's going to be more investment or whatever? That's his job. That's what he gets paid for. But we know what Aubameyang can do, and he's not doing that. Partly because he is disinterested, partly because everybody around him is shit as well.
I want to ask. I want to ask one question. I want to ask one question of Shrey Dimry. Do you mean relegated, or do you legit mean regulated? Because that's like some young gun shit right there.
Regulated.
Regulators, mount up, baby.
Regulated.
So I don't know if you mean regulated, like legit regulated, or relegated.
It's on a bit Warren G, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
Warren G. But listen, can I just say?
I want you guys to go, man, because this is entertaining. I love this. Go.
Rohan, and as much as I love you, Rohan, I have to venomously disagree in what you're saying here. Right, and I think it's a problem with a lot of people in our fan base. And I'm sorry to have to say this, but I don't understand why we're willing to give mediocrity a pass.
Yep.
Players have to.
There is no pass.
I see it for Ozil. I see it for Xhaka. Someone said the other day that Xhaka was one of the best players on the pitch in the last game. I mean, what is that guy?
Shut up.
As much as I like to respect everybody's opinion, what was he watching? What was he? What kind of glows? What sort of hint was on that guy's glasses? And what you're saying about Aubameyang is totally way off the mark, because I hear what you're saying about Mikel Arteta and what his responsibilities are. But at the end of the day, when Aubameyang gets a chance and he keeps shanking it wide or kicking it over the bar or not being able to header it in, that's nothing that Mikel Arteta can actually control. That's down to the player, and that's down to him being able to finish and be efficient when he gets his chances. And he's not doing that. And it irks me so much, because I've seen him do better. I've seen him pull the team along with him and pull players along with him, and he's the captain, and he's not doing it. He's not.
That's the biggest thing. He's our captain.
After the game,
this is our captain.
This is the same guy that I will see hugging and being all laughy and smiley with players on the opposition team when he's just had a stinker. That's not the right message, I'm afraid. If I'd be straight off down the tunnel. I'd have the right ump. I'd probably be sitting in the corner of the changing room with my head down, stewing, looking for the next game so that I can put it right, But he doesn't seem to be like that. The whistle ends, he's high-fiving and smiling and laughing, and I watch that, and I want to put my foot through the TV screen when I watch that. I really do. I'm like, you're
He
not.
needs to be stripped.
I agree. I agree with you, Stan. But to the fact that he's not been good. But what I disagree with you is that I'm giving him a free pass. There is no free pass. I'm telling you that he hasn't been. I didn't say that he was the best player on the pitch. I didn't even say that he was average. His attitude was. I said that his attitude was bad in the last game. Before that, he wasn't getting the service. Before that, people.
So you don't think his attitude was bad in the game before in the league? You don't. You think that he was fine and he just wasn't getting service, but he ran his socks off. He was trying the best that he can. He was trying to make something happen for himself. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I've not seen that in well over a couple of months from Bamiyang.
It's the whole season. He hasn't been
the whole season. Fair enough. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Season.
His whole season. So you mean the last 10 games in which we did perform exceptionally well, and he scored the winner against Manchester United.
Oh my God! It was a penalty. It was a penalty. Stop.
But that was the game in which
that's a blip on the radar. We did not play well in that game. We
did not play well. What are you talking about? We did play well in that game. We cancelled out Manchester United, who just won five.
We were happy to break the hoodoo, and we were joyous, and we were happy to go there and win. But we didn't go out there and school them.
We didn't school them, but the game before that,
they didn't respect us. They played a diamond midfield against us like idiots. I don't know why they did that with
because the game before that in the Champions League they beat Leipzig 5-0.
We're not Leipzig. That's not. I'm not talking about. I don't know.
We did go there. We did go there, and we did play well. I don't think that we played badly there.
No, we did. We came up against a team that has a manager who's as inept as our one, and I'd back him.
I wouldn't say Arteta is inept, but
he's quite inept at the moment.
Ole Gunnar is.
See, we don't give Leeds the credit that Bielsa is a genius, and that's why we lost. We look at what we've done. So why don't we look at what we've done against Manchester United? We predicted what they were going to do, and we did well. And the whole team did well, including Aubameyang.
I didn't predict what they were going to do. They just didn't respect us, so they played a diamond four against us when we have Elneny and Partey who are quicker than Jacques and Ceballos. If we had Jacques and Ceballos, we would have lost that game. That's not the point I'm trying to make. They thought they were too cool for school, is kind of what Stan's saying. They played their diamond four against us. We go, okay, cool. We'll do quick movement, quick transitions in the midfield, and we bypass the diamond, no problem. We just so happened to get fouled in the box, and we scored a penalty and we won. The game could have went either way. I think we did play better than they did.
We were never going to lose that game. There was until the last 5 minutes. They did not have a single chance where I felt like, wow, we were going to concede. It was only after we had scored and it was the last 5 minutes where we sat back that we gave them any chances. It wasn't a game there was no threat. You can go back and look at the game, and you can look at any of the fan cams also after the game. Even Manchester United fans would tell you that there was not a chance that they had where they were looking like they were going to score against us. So that was that game.
Because the whole season we've been good defensively.
That's not news. That being said, what I want to say is that there is no free pass, but I'm being a realist here. There's no point in nuking ourselves and saying that, okay, Aubameyang, you're not going to perform, or whoever, Leno, you're not going to perform, so I'm going to throw you on the bench and I'm going to play somebody from the academy. The best shot that we have to salvage anything from this season is to get him back on side. And if the attitude is the problem, then Arteta is the one who has to fix that attitude. That is it. There is no free pass given to anyone. Everybody needs to do their job, and Arteta's job is to make these guys perform. Why is it that Arteta gets a free pass in this situation where he's not supposed to motivate him, and whatever he needs to do, including benching him, I'm all for it. But I want to see the result.
Doesn't sound like you're all for it. Doesn't sound like it.
Let Rohan, if I may, I'm basically just going to try to sum up everything that you're saying. Aubameyang is far and away our best player. He is. Who's better?
He's not our best. Right? Wait, hold on. Time out. We talking about right now?
Overall, he's our most talented player.
Well,
who's better?
Please name who's better than.
I'm not talking right now. I'm not talking as we sit here.
I don't know.
Right this minute. I'm talking overall.
They're all bad. I couldn't tell you.
But
it's squad of 25.
What's that, Stan?
El Iniesta for me.
El Nene, let's go, boys.
You'll never get an argument out of me on that one. No, the points on all sides are valid. You guys are all making great points, and I love the banter. Aubameyang is the best player, and Rowan is you're spot on. Our best chance to salvage this season is get him going, because the fact is when he's going, when that ball's going into the back of the net for him, there aren't many players in the world that are more dangerous than him. The problem is ball's not going to the back of the net. It's twofold. It's his effort, number one, because he looks, I'm fat and lazy, and I could put in a better performance of what he put in. Because he does look lazy. He looked unbelievably lazy on Sunday. That being said, this is a team sport. This is a team sport. He cannot take the ball from Bernd Leno's foot in our own 18-yard box, dribble it, as we say in America, coast to coast, and put the ball in the back of the other team's net. That's just not going to happen. It's just not.
The issue is, Tanner, that we've all been spoiled because he's done it for the last 2 seasons.
Well,
2.5 seasons.
Right. My point is to the coast to coast thing is this. This is a sport where the other players have to perform as well. You can't rely on one player. It's very rare in this sport to be able to rely on one player. I mean, look at Barcelona. They for years they had the best, in my opinion, they had the best player in the world, Leo Messi. But they were still a great team, because you put Leo Messi on a bad team and he may have some amazing performances, but that team's probably mediocre. So you take Aubameyang, you can't put it all on his shoulders.
I just want to say too, the best player on our team is Partey. It's not Aubameyang. Shout out to Dave in the comments. I agree with him. I think our best player is Partey. The way he's transferred.
And you've seen him for 3 games.
Yeah, I mean that's our best player. You know what?
I'm never going to say our best player is a guy with the attitude that Aubameyang has. I don't care if it's.
I'm talking. Whoa. I'm talking talent. Just talent.
I still don't think
just talent. Thomas Partey. Dave. That's Dave. It's a great shout. But Thomas Partey right now is the flavor of the week. And it's easy to say that a guy that's played 4 games for this club and now isn't going to play for a month is the best player on the team.
We suck.
If he was that good, we'd be better. Because he's played. Hey, how many games has he played?
Good I think Gabriel could be our best player of the season. I like him.
I'm talking pure talent overall. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. You're not putting Gabriel in the world-class defenders category right now.
I'm not putting Aubameyang in the world-class strikers either. So what are we talking about here?
It's very easy to argue all of this when form is down, Ryan, because he's done this very short memory, and I think.
Listen, he was my favorite player when he was in Dortmund. I love Aubameyang, but we can't keep bailing him out.
The issue is very short memory.
It's not form.
We keep bailing him out as if.
I want to.
It's attitude.
Go ahead, Stan.
I was just saying, I just disagree that it's form. It's more for me is attitude.
Yeah. That's where so I'm agreeing with both sides, because I fully agree with that too. I think his attitude and the attitude and the effort from most of the players right now is crap, by the way. But when you're the guy that's counted on to put 20 balls in the net a year, 25 balls in the net a year, and you come out with this kind of effort, then you need to expect to deal with some of the vitriol that you're going to get. Let me ask you guys a question, because I put this poll out there as well yesterday. I don't know if you guys voted on it. I don't know how people vote. I just see the results. Do you think that Aubameyang wants to be the captain of this club? Take everything right now, just beginning of the season, clean slate. Do you think he wants to be the captain? And I'm going to come back and give me your answer, but I'm going to come back to something that Tim Howard said on Sunday. and I want to make, because I think it's a tremendous point by Tim Howard. I'm not his biggest fan in terms of the studio work, but this was a great comment from Tim Howard. So, Ryan, do you think Aubameyang wants to be captain?
Yes, but he doesn't know what being a captain is.
I mean, you guys know my thoughts on the captaincy.
Well, I'm going to expand on it. I can, but I thought we were being.
Let me keep it short. Maybe in a little bit. Stan, do you think Aubameyang wants to be captain?
I think he wants to. I don't think he's like, oh god, I've got to wear that armband again. But I don't think he should be captain.
Yeah, exactly.
Rowan, do you think Aubameyang wants to be the captain?
I don't think that that with this team there is any point of him being the captain, and so I don't think that if this was the future that would have been told to him in August, I don't think he would have wanted to be the captain, because it's very clear what our deficiencies are and how we are as a team, and there's no point in being a captain. Also, having the pressure of being the highest goal scorer and going on a goal drought for the first time in your career, going beyond 5 games and not scoring, and then people say that you're not world class.
First of all, hang on.
Need service every game.
Hang on, I want to shout out
players
Shahid.
Get themselves into games. He's not world class. I don't understand this.
I want to shout out Shahid real quick, Chelsea fan watching the show. Thank you, man. Really, really appreciate you tuning in. As Stan said, when we're getting the haters, that's when you know you've made it. Stan was the first one to say that here. So.
But can I just say what Rohan's saying? He keeps bringing up that, you know, the first time that this player's had a bad run of form. I don't know about it. I never really watched him before he came to Arsenal, but I do know that this isn't the first time that we've heard of him having a bit of a poor attitude at the club, because before we signed him, I heard stories about Pierre Aubameyang being a bit of a.
I was just going to bring that up.
You know, it was like riling things up a little bit. But then when he came to us, I was like, but I don't see any sign of that. He looks like a really happy-go-lucky chap. He was always smiling and blah, blah, blah. Maybe this is what they're alluding to. Maybe they're alluding to that when things aren't going well for him, he throws his toys out of the pram.
Everyone loves that we signed him because he was a great signing. Everyone talks about how good of a signing it was because he's a great signing, but no one talks about the manner in which he left Dortmund. He refused to come to training. He refused all these things. He showed up late to team meetings. He didn't want to participate in all these things because he wanted out. Like Stan said, he threw his toys out.
None of this was being said for the last 2.5 years. So I'm not sure why this is being brought up only now, because if this was something that we genuinely believed, it would have been a constant theme throughout.
It happened in Dortmund.
We waited for a convenient time to corroborate our opinion of what it is going to be. It is convenient.
No, as we say in sales, right? You're only as good as your last sale. You can't have a guy in the office, right? He's not putting any sales on the board in like 3 months. But he sits there talking about the Johnson deal that he got back in 2015 that was worth 150.
The Johnson deal, baby.
The Johnson deal. Yeah, but that was 4 years ago, mate. You're only as good as your last sale. And then in Aubameyang's case, he's only as good as his last goal.
All right, so let me bring up.
Been several hours away now.
Let me bring up what Tim Howard said on Sunday, and I actually agree with this. So Tim Howard, for those of you outside of America, Tim Howard. I would assume everybody knows who Tim Howard is.
Goalkeeper.
Former goalkeeper for Everton. He's American.
United States of America goalkeeper.
Come on, baby.
Red, white, blue. Sorry.
USA. Anyway, Everton fans actually used to chant that at him.
Yeah,
he'd make a statement. They chant USA. Yeah. So Tim Howard said that as far as Aubameyang is concerned, he would take the armband off of him because he wants him to be selfish. He wants him to want to score goals, and the armband sort of implies that you need to drag the other players with you. So
but he doesn't do
that. But as captain, maybe there's no better way for me to put this. But basically, what Tim Howard is saying is, I don't like Aubameyang having all of the responsibility. I want Aubameyang to be very singularly focused on scoring goals. Take the captain's armband off him and say, listen, man, it's nothing personal. Just do me a favor and don't worry about everybody behind you. I want you. This is your job. Your job is go score goals. And let's face it, who make the best captains in this sport? Center backs and goalkeepers. Why is that?
I've always thought
I know.
backs and
So I don't know if you guys watch the Wolves at all.
Wait, Ryan, hang on, Ryan. Stan, what did you say?
I was just saying I've always felt centre backs and midfielders. I've never rated a goalkeeper at all for being
as a goalkeeper. Fair.
Yeah, can't get into the action. Yeah, they're too far away to really direct anything. Just in my opinion.
This is my take on why, and I think if I had to rank them, I would want a center back as my captain, and here's why. You're forced to communicate. If you're not, then you're not being coached properly. And I'll tell you right now that if I had to take the one thing that I think ails this football club right now in terms of on the pitch performance, there is absolutely zero communication. This is all I see from these players.
Hold on, I disagree. I don't know if you guys heard Rob Holding's comment about Adam Traore being
That's not communication.
Joke, I know.
I want to give you credit for it.
That was fun. That was hilarious.
It's tremendous. He's built like a brick shit house. How's he go down?
Yeah.
That's why I like Rob Holding, because he has that attitude.
Yeah.
But you're forced to communicate, and this team doesn't. Okay, I'm going philosophical right now. Real quick, for everybody in the chat box, for the three of you, communication and common sense. They're the only two things you need in life. Did you really just sit there and count them? Wait.
I did.
Okay. I'm telling you, that's all you need. Communication and common sense. And if you have those two things, you can practice those two things. Your life will get exponentially easier. I mean that. This is look at me right now. Look at me right here. This, I'm telling you right now. That's what it is. The secret to life. Communication and common sense. This club on the pitch, I'm going to say this club in general, because when you look at things that go on behind the scenes, and we touched on this earlier, there's no I feel like there's no communication here. Like, we're not relying on carrier pigeons from the dark ages to get messages through. I can literally right now type a message into this little device, and Ryan will have it. Rowan will have it. Stan, I don't know. I think I have your number. I could send them all a text message right now on this thing, and they'd all have it instantaneously. This club has no communication. So that's why I think that center backs make the best captains, because they have a partner, and they have to. If you're not a good communicator, you're not going to be a good center back. Yeah. So that's why they make good captains. And let's face it, when you're in front of the ball, as Aubameyang should be, your job isn't to communicate.
I also feel as well, though. I mean, I don't think that Aubameyang is a good choice to be a captain in this team. But taking the armband away from him now in his poor run of form, I just don't think would do him any more favors. It might make things worse, because no matter what people say to him in private of the reasons why, outwardly it's just going to look like he's been stripped of the captaincy. Do you know what I mean? It's very rare. It's very rare for you to change captains in the kind of realm that we're kind of discussing. It doesn't really happen, right? But when you're the captain, that's it. You're the captain until you don't really play anymore, right? But I just think that if we were to strip him, it may have an even worse effect than what he's doing now.
There is another problem that I have. Are we not adults here? You know what? Like if our fearless leader came to me, if Craig came to me and said, "Listen, I appreciate the job you're doing, and I think you're doing a good job, but I think Stan would be a better host." So Stan, I want
that memo, have you? You've seen it? Okay.
I did see. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I mean, I figured I needed to break the news.
Stan, I'm so sorry. I didn't know he told.
But are we not all adults to be able to? I mean, I could take that and say, okay, it's not my decision, and it's like, okay, I'm still a part of the show. I'm still here. I'm just not. I mean, listen, I'm not really leading the show right now. Stan is up there.
Ooh,
This is so weird. It's like I feel like I'm directing airline traffic right now. Stan's up there, so he's really leading the show. But you get my point.
But then here's the question: if I was hosting the show and then I was doing a really bad job, would it be because would it be my lack of effort, or would it be because I'm not getting any service from you three?
Oh,
You see what I'm saying?
I think it would be
or run of form.
Stan, I think it would be your effort, because you're going to get. Listen, if I know Ryan, you're going to get plenty of service from him.
But you know,
okay. So
I'm sorry.
I have another view of or another point why generally strikers aren't captains, and why I agree with Stan why midfielders or centre backs are captains, is because both of these positions have two players who play, and both of these positions there's a scope for a dip in form, but still you play because there are two positions that you're playing with, that people are vying for. But the striker, there's always one, because they know that a dip in form is around the corner, and that could come. So that is what it is. And like I've said this before, I don't know if I wasn't clear enough. His attitude was not good in the previous game. It's inexcusable, but it was just as bad as any other player on that pitch. So if you're going to drop all 11, then I agree with that. But being a realist, at this point, the best hope that we have to salvage anything is to get him on side. Also, what would he do without what was he doing when the previous seasons, when he wasn't getting service and nobody else was actually performing? He was the guy who's been performing then. So it's not like we're looking at season 4 seasons ago. It's not like one second.
Hold on, right? I want to address that point that you just made.
Yeah, I'm so confused.
Changed then, since then and now.
Yeah.
He said that
it's being an even worse team. It is being a
service before, but he was scoring a lot of goals. He's not getting a lot of service now, and the goals have totally dried up. So
I will tell you what, because now we're worse off than what we were in the previous season. At least there was some amount of effort coming from Lacazette in the middle. There was some amount of effort coming from Pepe. There was our midfield was at least putting in some amount of performance. As much as we berate our midfield, there was a little bit more performance than what it is right now. We are on bare bones. We have to. There is no other option there, and there is that dip in form. How many times has he just taken the ball and he's scored there when we haven't been in the game? That's happened. And I'm not talking about a season it's not like Aaron Ramsey, who had one season in 2013-14 and then never had a season like that. We're talking about 10 games ago.
See, the reason
I
feel like you're giving him a pass is because you've said it a number of times that you're disgusted with the way he played in the last game, his attitude. You agree, you said it was poor, that you're disgusted. Yeah. But you keep on saying it as if it's an isolated incident, like it was just that one game. I've been seeing the same thing from him for a number of games now in a row. And it's only now that I've at the stadium say, right, okay, this has got to end. I'm gonna speak about this, because I've been giving him the benefit of the doubt like you have. And I've been saying, okay, he's gonna put it right in the next game because this guy is a natural scorer. I've seen him score, but that's not happening. And it's not that he's getting into he's trying, he's getting into good positions, and he's not trying.
I mean, against Leeds, I don't think there was any scope of trying. Leeds were all over us. They were playing the whole game in our half. I don't think there was any scope of us trying. I don't know where the scope is. And again, like, name me one player who hasn't had that sort of dip and who hasn't not performed. And are we that quick to take them out of the category? And tell me, what other plan do we have in any case instead of
his attitude? Bringing poor, right? His attitude is so poor that when we play so badly like we did in the last game, They don't even send him out to face the cameras as the captain.
I was just going to say that.
Joe Willock. He should be the one out there speaking on behalf of the team. If there's any player, it should be our star player who's mature. He's in his 30s. He's got the armband. As you say, Rohan, he's a world-class player. He didn't even want to come out and face it. He should be saying, I'm going to do this.
If that's the criteria, then even Messi is not world class, because of the previous game when they lost to whoever. They sent a 17-year-old who has less experience than Joe Willock. No. Answer that, Ryan. Why don't you answer that? Why did they do that then? And then Messi is also not world class.
I don't care what Barcelona do. I don't give two figs about.
That's how all of this. That's how all of this rolls, because this is a business.
But that's not giving a pop. But you're giving a pass again.
It's not.
I don't know what Messi's doing. I don't care what Messi's doing.
Everything in this club, from scoring goals,
a guy just from the academy to face the cameras after being humiliated in the way we are and in the run of current form that we have been in for this season. For me, that's just not how Arsenal would usually do things for me. And it's almost like it almost feels like Joe Willock drew a short straw and had to come out and face the cameras, or he didn't get a say in it because he's like inexperienced, and everyone just like pushed him out of the changing room door and then shut the door behind him, and there he was with a camera in his face. It's just, I mean, and again, we talk about the man management side of Mikel Arteta. I'm surprised that he even allowed that as well.
Yeah. Exactly. So whose decision is it? Why should it be Aubameyang's decision? Like,
he's the captain.
Everything.
He's the captain. He has the armband on his thing. It is his. He has the armband. It is his choice. And to go back to what you said, Rohan, how is that not
Arteta's decision?
It should be both of their decisions.
In this team, who trumps in terms of position?
Okay,
is it the captain or is it the manager?
So let's say Stan's the manager.
Who is
right?
higher? No.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to answer your question.
Okay.
I'm going to answer your question. Stan's the manager. I'm the captain, and we send Tanner, our newest recruit, out to face the cameras. And Stan's like, yeah, we're going to send you. I don't want you going there. I'd be like, no. I'm the captain. I need to. This is my job. I need to face this.
How do you know that he's not done that? How do you know that he's not done that?
Because Willock still went out there and Aubameyang's nowhere to be found. I would have pulled
but
Tanner
in
out.
terms of hierarchy, who is higher? If Stan, as the manager, is saying that he's going to go out, it doesn't matter what you're saying. It does not matter. You can protest as much as you want.
I'm not the captain.
The issue is that at Arsenal Football Club,
he said, "No, you're going out, Oba. I'm overruling this one. You're not going out. I'm going to send the kid out. He's got to learn sometime."
All right, I'll go in my Lamborghini. See you guys later.
The issue is that in this club, the expectation is that right from scoring goals to defending to giving interviews to making sure everyone gets back home is Aubameyang's responsibility. That's the issue in this. And you don't understand that there is a guy who's paid to make all of these decisions, who's Mikel Arteta. And you're not. I'm not hearing a word about that.
So
and it's okay. Like,
so if he's a captain,
I do not understand.
He doesn't make any decisions as a captain. He just whatever Arteta says goes. I just wear the armband and look pretty.
This is why we all agreed that he's not a captain sort of a player. I mean, the point is that was a wrong decision in the first place to make him captain. Why have you made him captain when he's not the leader type?
He's captain because someone, I won't name him, but I'll just do this, couldn't handle the pressure. And that's why he was bumped. The buck passed back. It was passed down to him.
Then why was he the captain, right? Like, I mean, the problem is that
the team voted. The team voted. Thank you. The team voted.
But then why was there a voting?
Got it on here. I had to get it involved somehow.
Why was there a voting again? Like, I mean, that's
because Emery was scared. Emery was a coward. That's why there was voting. He didn't want to take any responsibility.
So the point is that in terms of hierarchy, we all have to agree that the manager trumps the captain. So it doesn't matter if Aubameyang was saying that Willock, you should go out. If Arteta feels that Aubameyang should go out, Aubameyang has to go out. There is no other way.
No, I agree with you. I'm talking about both of them. I'm not just singling out Aubameyang.
Yeah. Both.
We are kind of focusing on him on this part of the show. I'm not singling him out. I'm not giving Arteta a free pass either. I mean, did you not hear what I said at the beginning of the show? I mean, I back him. I backed Emery. I back every Arsenal manager because they are the Arsenal manager. The only person I would never back is Jose
Up the
Mourinho.
irons.
You know, I wouldn't back Jose Mourinho, but I'm criticising those that I believe deserve the critique. Otherwise, it wouldn't be worth tuning into the show, right? And I haven't forgotten what Aubameyang has done for us. I have not. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it, right? However, right now, it's not happening. It's just not happening, right? It is not happening.
It is not happening, and it's his job to turn it around, and it's Arteta's job to make sure that his attitude is turned around and there's support around him, so that the next time there isn't that there isn't that excuse that there wasn't enough service, or there wasn't enough this or that. That is what needs to, and what bigger occasion than the North London derby.
I don't know. I just he needs to, if he's the Capitan, he needs to lead by example, and his attitude is I can't. His attitude really pisses me off. And I've been a fan of his. I was a huge admirer of Dortmund. When we signed him from Dortmund, I was at the bar. I was the Black Sheep pub, waiting to do trivia. Shout out to Scott if you're watching. I was with Scott, another Everton fan, and I think I had a little erection, to be honest, at a bar, which one of the few times I've had erections at bars.
You little.
Anyway, yeah. So
kind of walked into that one.
So massive. I am a huge Aubameyang fan, but I feel like it's just since he got the captaincy, I just think he's just flushed on the toilet. I don't know if it's purposely, not purposely. And going back to kind of what you said like a couple minutes ago, I wanted to touch up on it, but we were just in Stan was just, you guys were just vibing. I was like, okay, cool. But you said that, like Aubameyang, yeah, he's not had a good attitude, but so is everybody else. I don't care what everybody else is doing. He's a captain. He's the face of this club. He is the leader of this club. He needs to lead by example. I don't want to hear excuses of like, oh, well, yeah, he had a really bad attitude, but so did Xhaka, and so did Leno, and so did Bellerin, and so did them. You can't give Aubameyang a pass for this. And and I hate to say this, he needs to be held higher, because apparently he is our best player. He's a world-class player. And and not even that, without quotation marks, he's our captain. It's a true statement. He's our captain. He needs to be held on a higher pedestal. So if he has a sourpuss face, then yeah, he's going to be called out upon. He's going to be called out on it over maybe Willock or Reece Nelson kicking the turf as he's walking off. He needs to be held more accountable.
So what is the solution?
Hang on.
Strip him of caps. Strip him.
I want Stan to take this one, and I'm glad that he asked you and not me. So only because I don't think I'll be as diplomatic about this.
It's simple. It's simple for me. I backed Mikel Arteta because he is the Arsenal manager. I backed Emery, and I gave Emery a certain amount of time, which was around 18 months. And out of a lot of the other podcasters at that time and the channels that I was on, I was in a minority of backing him for as long as I did. I thought that the tactics were shit. I couldn't understand what he was talking about in his interviews. But with me, I have this thing where I will, even if the manager's not very good, I will continue to will them on. Because my biggest fear is that we end up going down the road of Man United after Ferguson. We go from one manager to the next manager, and every manager that comes in rips everything up and starts again. And then you find yourself in this flux of constantly being in a rebuild and never quite getting to the end of the job. Now, with Mikel Arteta, I was talking with my mate Gooner Mike, who was having a pint, and I said that for me, I want to give Mikel Arteta till this time next year. This time next year, I think that he would have had enough windows to try and build this team in the shape of his own image. However, it doesn't mean that I'm going to go blindly until this time next year. If things continue the way that they are, especially when I read that the Cronkies are willing to back Mikel Arteta over the next 18 months, which is about 3 windows. And for me, we've tried everything else. And I think the Cronkies are probably looking at this and saying, if we want to run a successful club, we've tried everything else. The only way out of this now is to throw money at it. Unfortunately. So my hope is if money is going to be forthcoming from the owners, then it has to be spent wisely, which has been one of the biggest crimes that this club has been guilty of over the last maybe 4-5 years. And that's why I will back Mikel Arteta. It's not because I've seen something in him. It's because I want him to succeed so that we have a manager that can build something rather than we skip to the next manager. He comes in, he's toilet. We get rid of him, he's toilet for the next guy. That's why I back him.
So hang on, Ryan.
I'll show you a quick
Hold your thought, unless you're going to be quick.
Yeah, literally, I'm reading a tweet. So it's funny you brought up the money and all of like the buying. So I want to bring a script because I read it today and I was like, holy balls. So in Arsenal's transfer window from 2016 2017, it's not even it's really not talked about. So it's not talked about enough. It has to be one of the worst windows ever. We spent 90 million, right, on Xhaka, Mustafi, and Lucas Perez, and then we sold Gnabry to Bayern for only 4 million. Gazzidis and Wenger have blood on their hands.
Hindsight is
manager.
Hindsight is so great that that Gnabry was also a guy who couldn't even get into West Brom's team, right? Like you never know how things are going to turn out. Like hindsight is today.
Yeah,
today Ryan is on a roll of making predictions of what has happened in the past.
Aubameyang probably couldn't get into West Brom.
Yeah, probably he couldn't get into West Brom.
Not poking the bee's nest, Ryan. You're being naughty.
But which team hasn't had that sort of luck? I mean, I'm just or that sort of decision making.
I get bad luck if one of them didn't pay.
No. I'm only talking about selling Gnabry because he's turned out to be such a superstar now. But Manchester United sold Pogba and got him back, and both times it's turned out to be a mistake on their part, because when they sold him he turned out to be world class, and when they got him back he's shit now again. Chelsea has sold De Bruyne and Salah. Who else?
I get what you're saying.
City have let
we're
go of
notorious
Sancho.
for stuff like this.
Which is no. So we're notorious for stuff like that. Tell me one player who's left Arsenal, except for Gnabry, who's left Arsenal and become a better player.
I'm talking about both ways. I'm not talking about just leaving. I'm talking about leaving and bringing in.
Run the league.
No, become a better player. Not won
You'll
the league.
You'll probably disagree with me, but
Nasri won the league, so it's not that. Who's become a better player than what they were?
You'll probably disagree with me, but
better than
Jeffrey Adelaide.
Yeah, Sanogo is the only guy.
No, I would say Jeffrey Adelaide. I think Debussy, when he left, he went to Set at the end. He was probably their best player. He's actually, I think, their captain now.
And what is he doing? Is he setting the world alight? He couldn't even get into the team ahead of. He got thrown out because Hector Bellerin was better than him. So we've seen his standard in the Premier League.
Yeah, but he's still a better player. He's a captain of one of he's a captain and he's one of the best right backs.
Aubameyang is also captain.
I don't get what your point is.
So just becoming captain isn't worth
no,
it.
I'm just saying he's
your analogy.
He's the captain, and he's one of the best right backs in the French league. That's all I'm saying. I'm not. I guess since Aubameyang's our captain, I guess being captain means absolutely nothing. So you're right.
Exactly, right?
So yeah, fair. So he's one of the best right backs in France.
French league where Pepe scored 22 goals, right?
We don't.
That's.
Okay, now we're gonna talk. We don't.
Saliba, who made it to the final of the French Cup, who can't even get into our squad.
Okay, fine. So you have both your parents die, you move across the country at 19 years old, and then you succeed in the Premier League. Tell me how that goes for you. And learn a new language. It's the same argument.
Can I ask a question? I'm legit. There's actually quite a bit of hate in the chat box right now.
Is there?
And this is really going to stir the pot because, I guess the world over, Americans just aren't really liked, and I'm going to do nothing.
Good job, I'm from England, then, isn't it?
What'd you say, Stan? Stan, what'd you say?
Good job, I'm from England, then, isn't it?
And he lives in Canada.
So these aren't things that American sports teams and their fans talk about. We don't talk about the mental stability of players and what it's going to do to their ego if you strip the captaincy from them or anything else. Like, if you're not good enough in this country to play a sport, you just don't fucking play it. Period. End of. Why are professional, and I'm going to say soccer for the sake of difference, why are soccer players treated with kid gloves? I will full disclosure. I don't know. I think the three of you know this, but I don't think I'm not sure how many in the chat box know this. I've never played this sport. I was a hockey player most of my childhood. I ran track in high school. I played American football. I played baseball, but I was a kid, but I played hockey through college. If you weren't good enough for something, you were just flat out told you're not good enough. And if you were too fucking butthurt over that, there's the door. I'll find someone else. Go. Why are soccer players treated like they're porcelain dolls? That if we talk to them in the tone of voice that I'm using right now, oh my God, they need their safe space. They're going to go curl up in a ball and cry and pout, and they might not score goals, and they might not do this, and they might not do that. Get the fuck out of here then. You're being paid millions of dollars. Millions of dollars.
They've got the best psychologists in the business.
Well, I'm confused.
And they're all the ones that are saying, boy, if you take the armband off Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, he might have a mental breakdown. Guess what? Let me
Can't
be the
get any
first
worse
one.
than he's already playing.
Let me be the first one to step up to the plate and say, I don't care. You're being paid to do a job. And if you're not doing that job, there's the door.
I agree.
Go.
I agree with you.
But this it's crazy to me. It's like I get the idea of
that's why
because
side, right?
Because sadly, I understand
because of what you just said. That is why Ozil's not in the side. He's been shown the door. Same with Guendouzi. So I agree with you.
See, this is okay. Guendouzi, I don't want to go off on specific because we're at 2 hours right now. We're going to go for another hour.
Bring him back.
It's just crazy to me that we're so worried about we as supporters, because I mean the club, clearly I can't speak for them. I don't work for them. I'm not there. I have no idea. Lawrence Emmanuel, the problem is footballers have too much power these days. The only thing, slight disagreement here, Lawrence, I think it's their agents. I think the agent has too much power, and by extension, then the player reaps the benefit of that power. So I don't mean to go off on a rant here and all American sports. It's not about that. But I'm going to go back to a point that I made some time ago, and this is the captaincy thing. I made a point, and you guys all laughed at me. You think this is the dumbest idea in the world, but hear me out before you laugh. Bite your tongue and hear me out. We talk about the captain being chosen by the coach. Or the manager. That's his job. That's the manager's job, is to choose the hierarchy, right? And I understand that. And again, from my background as a hockey player, we, the players, we chose the guy that we wanted to lead us. Why and this is my opinion on it. My opinion is the reason that hockey teams do this is because the players need to take ownership, and the players know better than the manager who the best leader is. Why? Because they're choosing the man that they say they want to follow. I don't think there's one player on this team that would choose Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang as captain. That being said, I do think they would some of them, most of them, would choose Granit Xhaka. Our opinion on this, we can have our opinions, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. If they think he's a good leader, we're not the ones playing, and we're not the ones that have to follow him. But there's something there to say, I'm choosing you I'm choosing to follow you. You are going to get my vote. I'm going to choose to follow you. And as a player, that means something coming from your peers, not your superior. So as far as Aubameyang and the captaincy and all this goes, I'm all for stripping him of the armband. I also understand that he's a delicate flower, and stripping him of the armband may mean that, well, somehow or other he's going to lose his 17 Ferraris and his 32 Lamborghinis and whatever street bikes he might have. And who the fuck knows? His wife might leave him for me. I don't know. I don't know what that means, but apparently we can't take it from him because he's gonna be butthurt. What'd you say?
I said upgrade.
Right? Oh, I thought you said butthurt.
No, upgrade.
Wait, me over him.
No,
Yeah,
it'd probably be an upgrade.
I mean, if she's a chubby chaser, then I'm all for it. So, so I have there's a puppy down here.
Yes, she's gonna leave Aubameyang in his Lamborghinis for you and your hatchback.
Whoa! I have a very nice, very clean 2015 Grand Cherokee. I'll have you know.
You would be a Cherokee guy.
Yeah, it's because it's cheap.
Yeah. So I actually completely agree with you, and I think that's the way it should be done.
So to take it away, I'm disappearing for a few, so please keep it going.
All right. So I agree with you. I think it should be done. The problem is it goes back to the players' mentality, and it goes back to how we see things and how the players react. Players don't care who leads on the field. The players do not. They're not worried about who's going to keep me accountable.
Could not disagree with that more. Disagree with that more.
No. I'm talking about Arsenal players. I'm not saying players in general. I'm saying Arsenal players.
I thought you meant players like players. Oh, I got you. Okay.
No. Arsenal players. They don't care. The mentality is not there. As we've talked about multiple times, the mentality of talent. Yeah. It's mentality. So if that's the case, if you don't care, if you don't care who leads you on the pitch, if you don't really care about who's going to hold you accountable, what are you going to? And I think I've talked to us on one of these podcasts probably a couple months ago. What are you going to do? You're going to vote for the most popular boy in school. You're going to vote for the most popular kid. Who's the most popular kid? Aubameyang. Yeah, exactly. That's what they did. They voted for Aubameyang because he's the popular kid. He's the one everyone likes. He's the cool dude. He's got the cool hair, the cool cars. And I agree. Cool. At the time, I think he was the best. I think he was the best player at the time. I do. And it just was an easy solution. You weren't, as the rest of the team, you weren't rocking the boat. You weren't making any crazy decisions. You're not gonna give it to Tierney, who just joined the team. You're not gonna give it to, Rob Holding, who doesn't get in the team every now and then. I mean, those are examples, obviously, but it's an easy way out. That's how we think. We're the easy.
I have a question. I agree with you 100% that you cannot trust, and this is what I said, I think on Ray's podcast before, that you cannot trust this set of Arsenal players to pick the right captain, because they will not pick the guy who's going to whoop their ass and drag them with them. They're going to pick the guy who's their mate. They're going to pick the guy who's going to be soft. They like Bellerin said, right? Like Alexis Sanchez, he wants to win, and that sometimes gets too much, right? That's the attitude that they have. But I have a genuine question that the second time around, did we again have a vote to get Aubameyang there, or was he chosen by the manager? I genuinely didn't know that if there was
when Arteta got appointed. When Arteta got appointed, or when?
No, whenever Aubameyang got the captaincy, was there a vote?
I think Xhaka probably. Because I think when Emery chose his 5 captains, I think at that point it was a vote, and I think Aubameyang was probably just second in voting next to Xhaka. So
okay.
So when Xhaka got stripped, it's like, okay, it goes to Aubameyang, and then I don't think when Arteta came in, he didn't want to rock the boat. So Arteta was just like, all right, keep the captaincy. I'm coming in. I'm fresh. I'm new. I'm a newbie, and kind of going back to I guess this goes back to that, and just to his formation and the personnel he chooses on the pitch. I think the fact that Arteta is just so fresh and so new to the managerial experience that he tends to rely more on the veterans and more on the David Luiz's, the Xhakas, the Aubameyangs, because he doesn't have that experience. Because to me, if you're Arteta, you're coming into the thing, and you see the kids working harder than the senior players, and they may even be better than the senior players because they work harder. You're not going to play the kids every game. As a new manager, you want to rely on the David Luiz's, who've seen it all, been there, done that, been in the trenches. Kind of same with Aubameyang, Xhaka, Williams, and I think they're letting them down big time. But I think, again, so therefore, you blame the players. But I think this is when you kind of have to go to the Emirates. You go to Arteta. Play the kids, baby.
How do you go about, dropping a player like Aubameyang, you've just increased that contract to, and the size of it? How do you go about dropping a David Luiz, who we had for a year, and then we extended it for another year? How do you go about dropping someone like Willian, who's on the sort of money that he's on as well? This is the thing. If you drop all of these players, that's going to be a lot of money that is going to waste. And I would imagine that at some point, the people above Arteta would be asking questions. You're dropping these players that are on a couple of hundred a week, and you're playing players instead that are on 50, 60 grand a week.
But would you rather waste? I agree with you, but would you rather waste money and be competitive, or play the same people with the money and be losing to Villa 3-0?
But just looking at it top down from an ownership perspective, there would be some serious questions being asked of like, well,
but again,
if you're not going to play David Luiz, why did we extend his contract? If you're not going to play Willian, why did you say that we needed to get him and give him 3 years when the club that he came from, the club that knows him, knows what he's capable of, know all his stats inside and out, would only give him 2?
And then that goes back to the management for signing him and giving them the wages. So that's their fault, not Arteta's. Arteta's not paying these players.
I'm really going to be devil's advocate right now.
It was Arteta really wanted Willian, and the club sanctioned it, right? Yeah. I'm more concerned that the club can't be doing something like, when Mikel Arteta goes to whoever signs the checks and whoever allows the person to sign a check, sign them, and he's going, this is the player that I want, and he's making a case for building a process. We're under a process, and this is how we're going to build it. And then he starts talking to these people about the part that Willian's going to play. The problem that we have is that we don't have anybody kind of above Arteta, near the owners, sort of in between, who's got football nous, who can then turn around and say, actually, I don't think that's the kind of process that we should be building. Go and have a look at the drawing board again and come back with another blueprint. There's no one saying, well, you know what? Maybe that's a bad idea, Mikel. There's no one second guessing him. Sounds to me that they're just going, if that's what you think, Mikel, then yeah, you go ahead. And he hasn't got the experience to be making some of these decisions on his own and not having someone that he can filter these ideas to, and someone who can maybe say, you know what, is this Willian deal really the right way to be going, Mikel? It doesn't seem like he's got anyone doing that.
That's where so Arsenal seem to be run in extremes, right? Like all the time. On the one hand, we had Emery, who had the experience. He wanted Zaha, but they said, no, let's get Pepe. Now we have Arteta, who has no experience, and he said Willian, and nobody's challenging him. On the one side, for whatever reason, we've frozen out the guy who's on who's the highest earning member of the team. And then on the other side, we have to think 10 times before we bench people like Luiz or Willian or Aubameyang for that matter. It's because this team is run in extremes, and that is where I was getting to when we were talking about the first point about Luiz. It wasn't Luiz, but how the club is run. But where Arteta gets my sympathy is that he started to make a change. Xhaka was being taken out of the squad. Xhaka was becoming more and more of a Europa League player. He was coming on as a substitute in the Premier League. He wasn't playing full games, but then the injuries happened. Then Partey got injured, El Neni got COVID, and all of that. And that's the issue there as well. It's such bad form. And sometimes I think even with that 8th finish that we had, which wasn't a great finish, of course not, it was a terrible finish, but sometimes we were able to overlook that because we had one player who was just performing out of his skin and sort of bailing us out. And now we have no one to bail us out. And that's the primary issue, which is why, questions are, I feel, more serious than what they were last season, even though we had results which were similar.
Do you remember when I said, we're talking about Xhaka, do you remember when I said some months ago about, we were asking, why is it managers come in and they start picking Xhaka? And I said, do you remember I said, yeah, when he's coming, he's put his arm around him, he's saying how much he relies on him, but maybe he's trolling him. He's not going to come in and go, well, yeah, you're shit. We've hardly got any midfielders. And as soon as we start getting more players, maybe he'll phase him out. And that's kind of a little bit of what I'm seeing, that, you know, when everybody's fit, Xhaka's not an automatic pick now for the midfield. And if you can't look at that last game and say that you don't understand why that is, because you've got a player there in the midfield that is offering absolutely nothing. He doesn't go in for the challenge. He'll let players run at him. He'll put his hands behind his back and start running backwards, but he doesn't go in for the challenge. He offers nothing going forward. And I'm seeing a player that's on the edge of the centre circle who will shout for the ball off of another player, and you think, oh, he's shouting for the ball, he's going to go forward. He'll take the ball, he'll turn around, and then hoof it back to a defender. Literally hoof it.
So bad.
Almost take off the defender's foot who's trying to receive the pass. There's so much power behind the shot. And
he's literally the definition of a brown noser. He's the definition of a teacher's pet. That's exactly why he's getting chosen in. He was the one that came in, Arteta. Oh, Arteta, how are you? How you doing? He brought him like biscuits and like tea. I don't know what they drink in England. I apologize to anyone English viewers that we have. But he just brown nosed Arteta into this. And he does attribute Arteta like, oh, Arteta convinced me to stay. And like everyone, you know, everyone's attributing like, oh, Arteta can't be our manager if he's getting Xhaka to stay. And I think that goes back to my point that I made a couple minutes, 10 minutes ago. I think that Arteta is trying to rely as much on the veterans and older players as much as he can to kind of get that experience, get that just get that experience under his belt. And then, you know, when all is said and done, when Ozil's contract runs out, Lacazette's contract runs out, Mustafi leaves, like all these players start to like leave little by little, I think then we'll really see the shape. And I'm going to throw something crazy out there. I'm going to go with Tanner's way and think crazy outside the box. Maybe the rebuild for Arsenal isn't necessarily the players. Maybe the project itself is Arteta. Maybe Arteta is the project, not the team, not the players. Maybe we're trying to mold Arteta into being the next big thing. And then, yeah, obviously he's going to bring in the players, bring in what he wants to do. But honestly, based on how this is all going, I think Arteta is the real project in Arsenal's midst, not, you know, the team as a whole.
So let me ask a question. Would you take a year or two of finishing mid-table? I mean, 10th, maybe lower. No trophy, no Europa League, no Champions League, obviously. Would you take nothing? I mean, utter mediocrity for a year or two if it meant that Arteta stuck for the next 10 to 15 years, but in the last, we'll say, you know, in the last 13 to 15 of those years, it's Champions League. The potential is there to win the Champions League. We're top four, challenging for the league year in and year out. Would you take the rebuild for a year or two? Because this is kind of the way that I feel when I read Twitter and I see comments. It's everything now. It's everything right now. And
because we have an entitled fan base. We were over this last.
Well, one point that I want to make is, and I kind of hate to do this, but I don't hate to do it because at the end of the day, I am American, and I grew up with American sports, and the way that things are done here is, look, sometimes you've got to suffer through some lean years, and I'm a big sports fan. I'm a baseball fan. I'm an American football fan. I'm an ice hockey fan. And I have suffered through some lean years with my favorite American sports teams. But when they win, it makes it all better. You know what I mean? Like, and like as a New England Patriots fan, long suffering from 1985, when they got their doors blown off by the Bears in Super Bowl 20, 46-10, a defensive lineman scored a touchdown for the Bears in that game. That's how bad the Patriots were. The last 20 years of being a fan of that football team, it's all been worth it. It's all been worth the last 20 years of being a fan of that football team.
Here's the difference, though, with the sport. In the sport that you're talking about, you've basically
there's
got
a draft.
You've got but you've got that one competition, okay? And you can talk to players and convince the players to come to your team because you can sell what it is that you're going to do to get to the Super Bowl. But we've been out of the Champions League now for 3, maybe 4 seasons. I can't remember. That's how bad it is. I can't remember. We've been out 3 or 4 seasons, right? If we do say, about being out for a couple of years, who are we going to attract when those players whose contracts are running out and we need to replace them? Who's coming in to take their place? Because it won't be anything of any quality. Because players these days, they all want to be dining at the top table. And we've been dining on the scraps that have been thrown off of that top table, like the little dog at the foot of the master's chair, for so long now. That's the difference. If we're out of the big game,
right? I just
would be so difficult.
I fully do recognize the difference in the way that the business of the sport is run, because we don't have a collegiate draft in European football. There's no collegiate draft in football over the worldwide. So we don't have that. So we can't look at, if we finish 16th. We should get a pretty high draft pick. That should be a pretty good player, so we can start to build around that. Therein lies the difference. I understand that, but to me, it's just I would take the 2 years of mediocrity. Go ahead, Ron. Go ahead.
If there was a crystal ball that we had, then of course everybody would take it. But the sign.
I don't know if everyone would.
But
I don't know that everyone would.
That we won't take 2 years of being outside the Champions League and finishing 9th and 10th if it guarantees us the next 13, 15 years of.
Rohan, you underestimate the stupidity of our fan base.
That's it, Rohan. That's it. It's not you. It's exactly what Ryan just said.
So put this up on Twitter later. Like, I would really want to see you saying that you have a crystal ball and you know that for 2 years, you have to finish 10th or lower, not get relegated. But after that, you're going to win titles and be in the Champions League and compete for the Champions League.
That's the one place I would stop short. I wouldn't say win. You'll compete
for Champions League and titles. But I think most reasonable people would agree with that. But aside,
most reasonable people are not Arsenal fans.
But that aside, the reason why I wouldn't take it without that crystal ball is because this whole business is about progress, right? You have to year on year, unless you finish first, you need to year on year show improvement, or in some shape or form, right? Be it on the pitch with your performances, and if it can be supplemented by, which is sometimes more important, the league table itself. If we finished 8th last season and we finished 10th this season and then we finish 12th next season, where will that faith come from that we need to give another contract to this guy that next season he's going to do well? Sir Alex was going to get fired, right? He just managed to barely keep his job, and then he turned it around. So there's evidence to prove that people can turn it around, but nowadays it's not that sort of a business. There's just so much money riding on it, and we shouldn't care as fans about money. But how long do you want to be in transition? We've already been in transition for 17 years now. All that I have heard for most of the time that I have been an Arsenal fan is that we are in transition. First it was moving to the Emirates, then it was paying off the Emirates, then it was Wenger needed to go, then it became Emery needed to go, and now it's Arteta. This is 5 things that I have named, which has taken large chunks of time, and we've just been in transition. For how long are we supposed to be in transition? And which is why I back Arteta, because I don't want to have another manager and give him another season, which is supposed to be a throwaway. But I don't want to take that 10th finish and the 12th finish because I don't have that crystal ball.
I want to make one more point based just on what Rohan said, and this is why. So I don't know if he's still out there or not. It was I said that I gave the question to Stan, why do you still back Arteta? What has he shown you? And then I said, I'm glad they gave you this question and not me. And then somebody actually put up the question for me. I can't remember. Reloaded. It was Reloaded that did put it up. I back Mikel Arteta because I do think there is something there. What has he shown me? He won a trophy. His team beat the two best teams in the league last season, beat them. Okay. So there's something there. Now you can say that the FA Cup's a crap trophy. You can say whatever you want. I don't personally agree with that. It's a trophy and it's an important trophy in English football. And he won it in his first year. Now, I back Arteta for that reason, because I think there's something there, and because I think that when he finally gets rid of the deadwood, the bad attitude, the poison, the venom, whatever you want to say exists in this team, when he gets rid of that, this is who I think Mikel Arteta is. I think he is a tremendous coach. And when he deals with younger players who are moldable, who aren't on high wages, who don't have that prima donna attitude, that ego that comes with 250, being able to go buy a brand new Lamborghini every week, put it in perspective. That's what Aubameyang can do. And I'm just using him as an example, not picking on him again, but that's how much money he makes. I think that when he has the players that he wants, that he can coach, I think you're going to see the best out of Mikel Arteta. This team, think about it. This team has a bunch of guys, age-wise, that are up and experience-wise are up here, and a bunch of guys that are down here. There's not really much right here. You know what I mean? No,
there is. Come on, Hector Bellerin's in there. Nicolas Pepe's 25.
I put him, but experience-wise, I'd put him at the bottom.
But he's 25 years old, right? So he must have been playing football since he was a kid.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking.
He just joined the team.
That's kind of what I mean with that. Stan is a guy that Pepe. I get it. Age-wise, young.
You're giving people again. This is it. I hear people. This is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing people giving people passes again. That's what I'm hearing. He's only been in the team for a year. No. Come on.
No. All I'm saying is I don't put Pepe up here.
It's like when people say, "Oh, we can't put Gabriel. We can't apply a sign for you, right?" And they go, "Oh, we can't put him in the next game, even though he's fit. He's got to settle."
I agree with that. Either you can either play or you can't.
He's just taken out of the oven. He's still playing football with his feet. He's been doing it since he was a child, right?
It's not like we're all of a sudden asking him to walk on his hands and kick the ball that way.
Exactly. So I don't get what is all about. But
what I mean by this is, like, you look at David Luiz, Willian, Aubameyang. I'm going to put Lacazette up there now. I mean, he's getting up there. You know, there's not. I would put Rob Holding, Hector Bellerin. Man,
honestly, you could throw Pepe in there if you want. It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
There's a big
no. I put Willian way up here. I don't put them in that middle, kind of that bridge, if you will.
I think the point. All right, hold on. So I think the point I'm trying to make is the guys that are up here are the players that play week in and week out and suck and don't do anything, and they have the shittiest attitudes, and there's nothing you could do. And I agree with what you're saying. I think this is kind of almost to Arteta's detriment. I think he overcoaches the shit out of his team. I think some of these players
you've said that before.
I think some of these players are checked out. I think Aubameyang is checked out. He's just overcoached. Because if you notice, and someone says in the comments too, we don't have any leaders on the pitch. All you hear is Arteta micromanaging. Yeah, exactly. And I think some of these players are completely checked out because Arteta is just talking. Danny, go here. Abba, do this. William, go here.
It's too much.
And if you're a senior player on high wages and you've been through it, you've been through the sick of things, the last thing you want is some coach who's probably only a couple of years older than you, yelling at you, telling you where to be. And, just use Aubameyang as an example. High-paid player, won the Golden Boot in the Premier League. He has been at one point one of our best players. you're not going to want to. What makes you want to listen to him? What makes you be like, oh yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about? First year on the job, like you're going to have reservations. You're not going to want to trust him, especially if he's constantly yelling at you. You're going to be like, fuck this guy. I'm going
to get raked over the Stan. Let me just answer Lawrence's question real quick. I'm going to get raked over the coals for this. The answer is yes, and here's why.
Oh, shut up, Tanner. Go to bed.
Here's why. Right? Here's why. Because you know what this team doesn't have. We talk about attitude. You know what this team doesn't. It lacks attitude. It lacks mentality. There's a dude that comes in and he might give him a pay-to-play contract.
Cool.
Whoa. Give him a pay-to-play contract. But that dude's going to come in and he's going to shove the cannon so far up your ass, you're going to burp gunpowder.
Yeah, he will. In the tactical box in crutches because he's always hurt. That's what he'll do. Here's
the thing that floors me is we talk about piss poor attitude in this team, and then when I say here's a dude that'll bring the right attitude, you're like, but he can't play, so fuck him.
He's not gonna. One player is not gonna change his whole team's attitude. You can't just bring in Wilshere and everything's gonna change. No, it's not gonna happen. He has been.
Why would you think that Jack Wilshere would come back to Arsenal and start to turn it on? I mean, the guy's a West Ham supporter. He went to the club which is his childhood team. Yeah, he's not an Arsenal supporter.
No, he's a West Ham. Yeah, no, I know. He grew up a West Ham fan. I know.
And it's not worked out for him there either.
So what we do?
So it sounds like it's a case from what Ryan's saying that players are going into work. And Mikel Arteta seems to be the sort of person that's just sucking the joy out of the room. We've been too anal, sucking the joy.
With the over. You know, wait, hang on. Let me bring something up here real quick.
Finish this one part. The biggest telltale will be when we see Thomas Partey come out for his next game, because he's been with us a little while now. He'll have been in and around the players and in and around the manager. If he comes out for his next game and he's not like, right, I'm fighting at the chomp to get in there. But if he comes out like, oh, God, what's going on here? You're going to see a lot by his demeanor. And that's going to tell me a lot. But if he comes out like, oh, God, this is, where he's been infected by by the negative chatter, or maybe infected by the micromanaging of the manager. I'm just using all of the little things that everyone's talking about what's going wrong. We will see it when he comes out onto the pitch.
I don't know if you guys have ever had this experience before where, I used to work at a job and I was pretty good at it. My job was actually, I trained, we would hire people and I would train them. Doesn't matter what it was for, but I trained them. And
he doesn't want to disclose it.
I know it's not because it wasn't important. So I'm doing my job, whatever. I've been with the company.
This is how you climb up the pole. And we need
exactly.
So I was doing my job, whatever. All of a sudden, we hire a manager to come in above me who hasn't been with the company as long as I have, but she has the experience, whatever. She comes in above me, never met her. All of a sudden, she's my boss. Comes out of nowhere, just starts, bossing me around, telling me what to do. I obviously didn't take well to it because, no, I take it back. She's been with the company as long as I have, but she hasn't been with the store as long as I have. So I say to myself, well, I've been with the store for, X amount of years and you just got here. And now all of a sudden you're bossing people around, telling people what to do like you know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. I've been in this store. I've done the ring around. I train people. I do this, I do that. But technically she's above me. So she outranks me and she, constantly telling. So naturally I couldn't stand her. I didn't want to work with her. I was just like, you know what? I'm done. And me and her did not get along for the longest time just because she came in. She may have more experience than me. She may even know the company better than I do. But the fact that I've been with the store for longer than she has, and she just comes in above me and just starts ordering me around and do this, that, and the other thing, yeah, it pissed me off. And I think some of these players have the same mentality, is where, yeah, you just became a manager, but I've been with Arsenal Football Club for however long the players have been for, and you're gonna come in and now tell me how to play. I'm sorry, Rohan. I'm just taking Aubameyang. It's just because we've been talking about. But you take Aubameyang, I've won the Golden Boot. I've done this. I've done that. And to be fair, he makes a shitload of money. You think he's going to want to listen to Arteta? Chances are probably not. And I think that could contribute to his piss poor attitude also. But I mean, it goes with a bunch of players. But I just use Aubameyang because it was just easy. But I think that's a definitely a flawed system. And like I said, I really do think that we need to give him more time. Once Ozil leaves, I think we're going to be so much better off.
So then then it is again Arteta's job to bring them on side and to have a conversation on the one side to show that there is only one boss here and I am that boss of this team. That is his job. He needs to know who he has to show the stick, and he needs to know who he has to show the carrot, right? And that is his job. How he can bring them on side and make them trust in his ability, and help them to understand that he can get the best out of him, because the players at City used to love him. Everybody was singing praises of Mikel Arteta and how good he was and how he was improving players. I don't know why the players would have any doubts about him, but if they did, it is his job to convince those players, because if they aren't convinced, then they aren't going to be able to follow him, or they aren't going to be willing to follow him. But it is his job to bring them on side, and he will do that. I really do hope that he's going to do that, and I hope that all of these big guns are with him on that journey. There are some people that we know aren't good enough, right? Like, we know that, but there are players in there who are good. We've in this whole dark sphere that we are at, we've actually managed to find a decent centre back who I think can be a mainstay in our team for the next years. We have found one piece there. We found
Mustafi,
a Partey. Right? We found, of course, we found a Partey.
World Cup winner.
We've got Aubameyang to sign on to a contract. Who, in my opinion, and you may not agree, but I don't think that in 1 month a player can go from being world class to not being world class and being dog shit. It is more gradual than that. I would assume. So there are some items there, but of course he's over engineering it. He's put the handbrakes on. Sometimes a 3 at the back, sometimes a 4 at the back. When there's a 4 at the back, then the midfield is not tight. We don't have those players. He's been unfortunate with injuries as well. All of these things are not working in his favor, but it is his job to turn it around. This is how it goes. That's the business. If he doesn't do it, somebody else will come and do that business, right?
No, I completely agree with you. But like I said with my example, if Aubameyang doesn't respect Arteta, it doesn't matter. Arteta could say anything in the world. Arteta could be like, you can bang my missus if you want. Then Arteta's not going to. I mean, he's not going to respect you after.
So hold that thought real quick. Stan would like to say something.
No, I'm just
before I hit another wrong button.
Yeah, I'm gonna nip out because my missus just put a plate of dinner down in front of me, and I know you guys are still rolling, and we've still got a lot of people here in the chat that want to listen to this. So I'm going to nip out to eat my dinner because I don't like eating on air. It's just a bit rude, right? And so if you guys are still going when I'm finished my dinner, and I'm a quick eater, I'm like a gannet, basically, I will return. Just in case everyone is finished by the time I've finished eating, I'd just like to say to the panel, I really enjoyed the chat with all 3 of you tonight.
Yeah, yeah.
I know me and Rohan locked horns a little bit earlier, but this is what it's all about, right? Me and Rohan are very good friends, as all of us are. But sometimes we just have differing opinions, and this is what it's all about. This is. I
just want everybody to know that if we were actually, go ahead, Stan. Sorry.
I just wanted to say as well before I go. Oh, football brownie salad. I've got sausage and potatoes, actually. That's what I'm having tonight. And I just want to say thank you to everyone in the chat room who's still hanging in there with us, because we're on 2 hours 38, and we've now gone.
We're at 2 hours and 40 minutes.
We've got into that realm of an Avengers movie. This is like one of the Marvel movies now.
No, we're headed to Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. This is like
we're getting
this is like
one ring to rule them all.
So I'm going to jump out, and if you're still going, I will jump back in. Thank you to everyone in the chat box, and great evening as always with the panel.
Stan, I'm leaving you up. Just mute and stop your cam, and just hang off. Yep, exactly, perfect. Ryan, sorry, go ahead. Finish your thought.
What? I was talking?
Not more. Seriously?
Well, anyway, I don't know. I honestly have no
said
idea what I was saying, but I will backpack stances and yes. What?
Nothing. Rowan was going to talk because you forgot what you were saying.
I said the last thing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Good job, Tanner. I was like, I definitely was not talking. Sorry. Go ahead, Rowan.
I could have. Wow. I also almost fell out of my chair. Did anybody see that? I literally almost fell. Like the chair almost fell over. Yeah.
I'm a beer called a sizzling hippie. I don't know what is going on right now.
Evie had this squeaky donut, and she was squeaking it. And I don't know how well anybody could hear that on the air, but I leaned over to take it from her, and literally the chair started to tip. That's how you know you're fat. And anyway,
you're big boned.
No, so like I said, there's a reason why managers are sacked and the players remain, right? Like we've seen that at Chelsea like many times. So it is the manager's job to turn it around. If he's over-engineering it, then he needs to tone it down. He needs to understand what needs to be done. He's worked under one of the most successful managers of all time in Guardiola. He's played under Wenger, who isn't a school team manager, like really. Like now, what would we give to be in the Champions League and take it for granted, year in, year out, and be challenging. Let's be honest. Like we were challenging till about February or March, and then we would fade away. But it wouldn't be in October, in the middle of October. Like seldom do I remember that by middle of October we're already out of the title race. So although we knew that we were eventually going to be out, but it continued for a bit longer than what it did this time. So it's his job to turn it around, and it is his job with Aubameyang, with the defenders. Why is this inconsistency? Why are there sometimes that Bellerin has a great game, but then off late he's been so poor? What is up with Dani Ceballos? Really turning it around after the lockdown, and then again he's become piss poor. With Xhaka, I wouldn't blame him as much because I think he was trying to fade him out of the team, but Xhaka's made a miraculous return all of a sudden. But then again, playing Willian and all of these guys, having different standards, being super harsh to some, not to others, these are not things that will go down well. But hopefully he's going to learn from that. Failure teaches more than victory and wins, right? So he's going to learn more about himself and the team in this period than he did during the FA Cup run.
I completely agree.
Go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead.
No, I completely agree. And kind of like what I said earlier is I think in his mind, he's a very inexperienced manager. Obviously, he's never done this before. So what is he going to do? He's going to rely more on his veteran players. And I think that's why we see the Williams, the Aubameyangs, the Lacazettes playing in maybe not Lacazette, but playing week in and week out. And we get frustrated over William playing week in and week out. I'm not frustrated with Aubameyang playing week out. I'm really not, as much as me and you locked horns are in. I don't, but you see certain players because I think he's relying, because I do think Aubameyang carried us to an FA Cup. I do, but I think Arteta did also. I think they kind of both did. And on the way to the FA Cup, I think Arteta did, had some masterclass tactical performances. I really do. And even the Premier League too, he had a couple of really, really good games as a manager, and he had some iffy games also, but we got us a trophy. So I think
let me jump in real quick on something. Aubameyang and Arteta. There's all of a sudden, like at least I have been anyway. I don't know about you guys, but like all of a sudden now it's like Aubameyang is disenfranchised with Arteta and his tactics. Meanwhile, again at the end of the FA Cup, it was my manager. Did it really fall apart between those two this quickly? I mean, we're talking 4 months
So like I said,
and I understand that losing really can bring things to the fore, but I refuse to believe that they have had such a falling out in 4 months simply because of a really poor run of form after everything that they accomplished at the end of last season. My only point is I've seen a lot of Aubameyang doesn't like Arteta. They're falling out. I just don't buy that. So that's again, my only point.
I'm gonna have I have another example. So I started playing soccer since I came to Connecticut. I joined like a pickup game. I met this guy. He's an organizer. Still a very good friend of mine. Chelsea supporter. Okay, whatever. Still good friends. I play with him. I actually play with his wife too. His wife's a really good player. Whatever. We get along.
Whoa! Does he know that?
Soccer. Okay. We've been in co-ed teams together. We've been in all men's leagues together. Really good person. A good friend of mine for sure. Everything was good, and then I think it was a co-ed league we joined. We started losing really bad, and I started being like, "Oh, I think maybe we should do this. I think we should play this way." And he's like, "No, you're wrong. We should play this way." All of a sudden, me and him started butting heads out of nowhere, and then we would play because we also play pickup too. We would butt heads at pickup, argue over dumb fouls or was that a handball? Was that not a handball? Because we never referee in pickups. Argue over really, really dumb things. We'd be kind of nasty with each other on the field. And then off the field, we kind of wouldn't talk that much. But then at the end of the day, over the next few days, we would talk friendly, like nothing ever happened. And I kind of want to chalk that up to a similar situation where I think it can flip on a hat. If once you start losing, once things just don't go your way, and you see things just a little bit differently, because I do think Aubameyang does not want to play the system that Arteta has set out, because I don't think that fits Aubameyang.
I would agree.
I
would agree with that.
I think the way Arteta plays does not suit Aubameyang at all. And I think now that Aubameyang's starting to kind of get his Arteta is starting to get his footing in the squad, because he kind of already revealed what he wants to do in playing the 4-3-3, especially since we signed Partey. And I think that was actually our biggest mistake against Wolves, was we stuck with the 4-3-3 when we have – not 4-3-3, but the four at the back, because we have Xhaka in the midfield, and that's just a recipe for disaster. But
it just doesn't bring any ingenuity.
Yeah, and I think that Arteta needs to – Arteta was so – I don't want to say he was so quick, but once I think we signed Partey, Arteta was like, okay, good, I got my guy. I know what I want to do. Let's start slowly putting in my formation and slowly putting in what I want to do. Because I think before, when we won the FA Cup and we won all these big games, it was because he played around the players. He played the system that he felt would work around the players.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Now that we signed Partey, one of his signings, he's like, okay, good.
Now we're going to do it. Now we're going to
start doing it my way. And I think the best example is watching us play Wolves. He still played his way. And we got ran off the pitch because immobile Xhaka. Ceballos isn't mobile either, and he just didn't have a good game. There was just so many varying things that just didn't work out. And again, in Aubameyang's shoes, he is the captain, so I'm sure he feels like, okay, I have a better say than everybody else. I have a bigger voice than everybody else. So obviously he's not going to be happy, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him one bit for not being happy. Arteta is not playing to his benefit, to what he does best, and I do think he thinks he's the best player on our team. And I'm not saying he's not. We were over this 20 minutes ago. He could be, he could not be, whatever. I'm not arguing that.
It was an hour ago.
Whatever. I'm a lot of beers deep, so I don't remember. So I think it's tough because you want to battle, and the battle is going to be stronger because we're losing, because we have a dip in form. And I think this is the time where Arteta needs to put Arteta, I think, is putting his foot down and being like, you know what? We need to rebuild, and I want this system in place. Yeah, not all of you are going to survive the rebuild. Not all of you are going to survive this, bringing people in, bringing people out. I'm going to survive. And I think this is why I think the project is Project Arteta, not Project Arsenal. I think that he says, I'm going to survive. You guys will not. So if you don't want to adapt to what I have to say, That's fine. You can leave. I'm still going to be here, and I'm going to bring in players in January. I'm going to bring in players in the summer, and they're going to take your spots, and they're going to suit my needs. So you could do what you want, and that's fine. And I know it's a bad situation for Aubameyang because, he's a very talented player. I'm not saying he's not, but he's on his way out, and he's getting older. I take that back. Maybe he's not on his way out, but he's getting older. So in Arteta's eyes is, okay, I have Balogun, who's doing really well in the U23s. He could be my guy. He might not be my guy, but he could be my guy. Eddie's not doing what I want him to do. Lacazette's not doing what I want to do. So I think he's like, you know what? If you don't want to play my system, I have Balogun. I'm going to stroke Balogun a little bit, stroke his ego, because it's came out multiple times, and Arteta's even said this. He wants Balogun to stay. Yeah, he wants to build around, not build around Balogun, but he wants Balogun to stay. So there's just a lot of things, and I think Arteta's slowly saying, "Hey, Project Arteta, get on the ship or just sink with everybody else."
Rohan, go ahead.
So I agree with what Ryan said, that he switched very quickly once Partey came in, and then he stuck to that. And we've seen in this business, being stubborn and being single-minded is also a fault. We saw that with Wenger.
Absolutely.
We saw that with Wenger, and we're seeing that with Arteta now.
100%.
We all wanted him to move to a 4-3-3 because there was a deficiency in the five at the back. We weren't creating really a lot there because Lacazette had to come in and fill that third midfielder spot, and that was leaving us light up in attack. But then once this guy's injured, Partey is injured, we don't have three good midfielders to play. Elneny's got COVID, we don't have, and Ceballos is out of form. Again, I'd say out of form for Ceballos because maybe he has a little more talent. Xhaka is just Xhaka, right? Like he's the midfield Mustafi. So, him being him, he's going to, so why is he sticking to that? And he might want to change that. But on the other hand, he might be thinking that if I flip and flop too much, then the players are not going to be able to understand what my message is, and they're not going to respect me because they'll think that I'm not sure of my ideas. But it's a very tight corner there where he has to convince first himself that he's sure of what he's doing and that will come good, and then he's going to convince the players that they have to do that as well. And both of them is, I think, missing right now. That's the issue with Arteta. And the second thing that I think this part I disagree with Ryan on is that at the end of the day, this is a results business.
Yep.
If this guy Aubameyang has now signed a 2-year contract, he in this shit team is our best hope to salvage anything out of this situation. He has to bring him on side. If he alienates him and starts stroking Balogun's ego and says that now you're in the team, first of all, there's no guarantee that he's going to succeed or stay. And by that time, he might have lost so many games that he might be out of management. He might be out of Arsenal himself. So that for that reason, he needs to keep Aubameyang on side. He needs to maintain a level of consistency. He can't be at finishing 8th or lower this season. Hey.
Are you lot still going? Are you lot still?
All right, all right. Everybody shut up now. Stands back.
I'm just saying, are you lot still chopsing away? Bloody hell! I thought it'll be cool.
Your bangers and mash is done.
Hey, you moved me.
I gotta put it back.
Rohan, I completely agree. But like I said, I think that this summer's transfer window is going to be like, I don't know what a bigger word than ginormous is. Like, I need my thesaurus on me. It's going to be the most important and the biggest transfer window in our history.
That
everyone says it every year.
The last one was, and we blew it.
Nah, but this one in particular, because of Ozil, because of Mustafi, because of so much.
Well, that is actually a good point because of all the money that's going to come off the wage bill.
Yeah.
So
I think this is going to be this window is going to be a make or break for Arteta. Depending on who we get in, is going to show really, is it Project Arteta or is it Project Arsenal? Is it just we could lose Arteta and we'll be fine. We'll hire another manager. I think this window is really going to show us. And I'm a little nervous because we're linked with a lot of attacking midfielders. And the only one that, in my opinion, that I want, I'm not going to pronounce his name, from Jabalai. He's the only one I really want, but I know we're linked with like Eriksson and Benuisha and
no, I don't want Buendia. I don't want Eriksson. I would love Hussein.
I don't want Aouar.
I mean,
okay, so I did, but after watching him, he just got fined in Lyon for he chose not to show up to training or practice because he got benched or like he was on the bench and they were going to bring him on at halftime, but he says, no, I'm not going on. So they fined him. I don't want that kind of player in my dressing room.
Yeah.
I don't want it because that's a player that's probably already in this fucking team right now that we have. So he's a perfect Arsenal player at that point. But
we're at 2 hours and 55 minutes, and we really are at Avengers level timing here. If we keep going, like Rowan said, we're gonna be at Return of the King levels.
I mean, we got to pass 3 hours.
Which is a phenomenal movie, by the way. I love the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah.
Now we got to wrap it up. This is attention spans are dropping.
Honestly, to the people that are still here, you guys are nuts. You guys are absolutely fucking nuts.
You guys are rock stars. Thank you guys for being here.
Punishment.
Wait, what'd you say, Stan?
It's a
for punishment.
Yeah. No, seriously.
Thanks for hanging in there.
Yeah, I want to shout out everybody in the chat box. You guys are great. Everybody watching on replay. Thank you guys so much. I know we went really long tonight. You know what? At the end of the day, I try to model the show a little bit after I'll say a radio show, quite frankly, or a roundtable discussion. But really, at the end of the day, what tonight felt like, I don't know if you guys felt it. Maybe it's just because I was drinking on the air. But tonight genuinely felt like just four dudes sitting at the bar. That's really what tonight felt like.
The show at an hour and a half, which is our usual runtime, we would have only been continuing off of camera with this same conversation. So I think we basically just left it on, right, and see who'd hang in there.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. Because honest to God, like we do this off the air, and like we go for another hour and a half, and we keep talking about the same stuff. We get into a few other things, but for the most part, this. I gotta put this up. Of course you wouldn't. Of course you wouldn't. You know why? Because you have standards, my friend. You have standards.
Wait,
your little rodent friend, however, the standards are. So, anyway, I'm sorry.
You, Mike?
I had to bring that up. Now, if you don't know what Mike's talking about from the Gooners Pod, first of all, go if you aren't already, for the love of God,
please
go subscribe
Mike
to the Gooners Pod.
The man.
Oh my
please,
God,
please.
You guys are one of the best things going. Seriously,
Mike,
and if you don't know what, and if you don't get the would never do a podcast whilst intoxicated, just go subscribe to the channel and just scroll through the videos, and very quickly you'll find out why he would never do a podcast whilst intoxicated.
Man's a fan of the red wine. I'll leave it at that.
Not like those boys over on the Arse Brothers, mate. They love a booze up when they're on their thing, man.
At the end of the day, the only difference between this and us doing this in person, like face to face in the same place with each other, is we'd all be on the floor by now because I'd have ordered about 7 rounds of shots. So I understand that when
I have a Domino's pizza on my stomach, though.
When this actually goes live, and it is going to go live, the 4 of us are going to be in the same room with one camera on the 4 of us together, and it's going to get rowdy because it's just going to be, the Jaeger is going to flow like wine. So If
So
you
yeah,
don't like
so me and Ron already talked to this. When we're arguing about a bombing or anything else, me and him are gonna grab each other's shirts and we're gonna chug beers in front of each other. Just like chug a beer.
he just interrupted me. I have no idea what just happened here, but he interrupted me. Like I'm sitting here talking about Jaeger and you're talking about ripping shots off one another's chests or something. I don't even know what you're talking about. You know what? You know what?
I
Ryan?
said chugging a beer with Rohan while our hands are on each other's shirts because we're engaging in a argument. That's all. Instead of arguing, we're gonna just chug in front of each other. Is it Beer Fest? I think it's Beer Fest. I think it's Beer Fest.
They're all coming out tonight.
Jeez.
I'm getting it all in tonight. That's what I said.
This is a fiery one before the North London derby. I mean, exactly the podcast that everyone deserves before the derby.
It's not the podcast we need, but it's the podcast we deserve. On that note, real quick, round the horn. I already gave my prediction for Sunday, and you know what? And here's the thing. I feel so much better. Having had this conversation with the three of you and everybody in the chat box, I feel so much better. I'm not saying I think we're going to win Sunday, but I feel better about it.
To the Arsenal.
I feel better about it. So, Stan, let's start with you. Give me a prediction.
Right now, I've not seen anything that makes me think the trend is going to change. We find it difficult to get the ball in the back of the net. So I don't know what the score is going to be, but I definitely think I think we're going to lose. I don't even think we're going to be able to be capable of nicking a draw. You know, we can't win at home. We're struggling on the road. It's just not going to be pleasant. I really hope I'm wrong and there's some weird anomaly because it's a North London derby that somehow players manage to get themselves up for it and wear the shirt with a bit of pride and prove me wrong. And we can somehow scratch out a win like we did against United. But I don't see it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Ryan. And when I say quickly, I actually mean quickly.
Nah, it won't be because we passed 3 hours already. All right, never mind.
Yeah.
I'm not going to predict the score because I will never predict us losing to them. But I just want to see a back three. We have to go back to what we've been doing at the beginning of the season. I know it's boring football. I know no one wants to see it, but we need to play 5 at the back. And I think someone said in the comments, we got to play what we've been playing this season. I don't know if we are right now, but we're always flirting with the least amount of goals conceded. We're always right there. I don't know if we still are. Maybe not after conceding 2 to the Wolves, but nice, Nathan. Great. But yeah, I think we just need to play the football we've been playing. Play simple, compact, defend well, and hope to play the counter and just hope we can nick one, maybe like a Man U game. I mean, I don't know because I just think we need to defensively play smarter because we're not going to have Partey. So it's going to be tough. But like I said, please, Arteta, play 3 at the back. We need to. Xhaka's a liability, and he's going to play. But in the same respect, and I'm probably going to sound very hypocritical, I want to play very defensive, but I also want runners up top. I want to see Willock. I want to see maybe not start, but I want to see Reece Nelson get on the pitch. I want to see the effort because we need it. We need the effort. And I'm not saying sit Aubameyang, no, but just 3 at the back. I want 3 at the back. I want runners. That's it. And please, someone put Son on his ass. That's it.
Rowan?
Spurs on form.
Go and say it.
What's that? Wait. What's that, Stan?
I said, go on, Aubameyang hat-trick, Rowan. Go on, just say it.
Come on.
So Spurs on form, top of the league. We've been dog shit. Aubameyang out of form. I mean, realistically, there's only one thing that can happen. Aubameyang hat-trick and we win it. No. So see, here's my head tells me, of course, that they're in form and we're so out of form that it's not even a matchup and that we're going to lose. But what I do feel, and this is my heart talking, and not just maybe this is a little bit of my head saying that we do turn up for big games now. It's become a thing against under Arteta that we do have a plan and we do try to assert ourselves in big games tactically, right? So and Spurs riding the wave so high. If you remember the last time when we played Spurs at their place, we were favorites to win that game. Yep. We were favorites to win that game and we lost 2-1. Alderweireld scored with a header, remember? And we actually dominated that game and we lost it. So it's not always that the best team is going to win or the team in form is going to win. It's a hard task. It's an uphill battle for us, but I would not bet my house for a Spurs win there, right? So I could see us nicking a draw, nicking maybe a 1-1, play a back three. There are just 2 midfield spots that are open. I'd say bench Xhaka and play Ceballos and Elneny. Elneny's back, so you play him, right?
Guess who's back? Back again.
Nene is back.
My dick.
Elneny's back.
So
I'm sorry, Elneny gets you so excited. Elneny, Ceballos, and Wilk in the midfield would be tremendous.
So there is some hope, but a couple of seasons ago I once stayed up all night when it was a 7:30 a.m. kickoff here, and I played on my PlayStation. I beat Spurs and I got all excited, and then we lost 2-0. So definitely not going to stay up the night. So yeah, that's what I know.
Can I just say as well to Ryan, he's thinking about his little slip of the tongue there. Don't worry, mate. There's no way that Craig's going to be watching this at 3 hours and 5 minutes. It was switched off and went and done something else.
I'm getting a message promptly at about 7:45 in the morning.
He'd be good for an hour. He'll watch it for an hour and he'd think, yeah, the boys were doing good. And it was slipped off and done something else. So you're good, Ryan. You're good.
All right, I'm sorry. After watching Xhaka's performance, Elneny will get anybody hard, okay?
Hopefully by that
Elneny
point,
and Xhaka not in the lineup, he gets anybody hard. Let's be real here.
So yeah, this was fun. A lot of fun. One of the best shows I think we've had, fellas. Honestly, I mean that. Again, shout out to these guys because without the 3 of them, this show isn't. It just doesn't. It doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. And honest to God, this is, one. And I mean it. I swear to God, I mean it. That one day the 4 of us will be sitting in a bar and we will do this. Is it time?
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, probably a bar that we won't be able to go back to as well after that night.
Yeah.
No, we're getting kicked out. We're all getting kicked out.
Is it time for us to go? Okay, so who here? She's apparently telling me that it's time to go. So appreciate everybody watching on replay, everybody in the chat box. You guys were great tonight. Always, as Stan says, the 12th man. We really appreciate it. At the end of the day, you know what?
Sorry, shout out to the Arse Bros. Please, everybody, you need to watch Manny's show, Arse Bros Extreme. It is amazing. You'll probably yell at him, scream at everybody in the chat, but it's so much fun, and they really dig deep and get into like certain topics that may press a few people's buttons, but please do. And obviously Max and Toby with Arse Bros OG. I love the Arse Bros. I'm an Arse Bro. We're all Arse Bros.
Yeah, go follow, go subscribe to the Arse Bros.
So much fun, guys. Please.
And I would be absolutely remiss if I didn't mention Gary DWTT in the chat moderating everything for us.
Gary, big up, mate.
Yeah, big up to you, man. Part of the team. He'll be there as well. He'll be the dude in the background behind the camera when we're at the bar, like. That'll be Gary. Now we'll put him on the air and we'll get him drunk with us for sure. So once again, thanks everybody. Really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging with us tonight. Good footy talk. We'll see you out there.